Hello and welcome to another episode of Diplo Strats. Today we're going to be covering the World Diplomacy Championships, but not the final. If you want to see the final, you can go over to the Diplomacy Broadcast Network channel. I believe they covered it there. These are qualifying rounds, and the reason that we're covering the qualifying round is that you may notice on the power rankings, Ezio was there. Speaking of which, I'm here with Ezio. Hi, Ezio.
Hello, hello.
And yeah, this was one of, I think, 3 qualifying games that you played in. Am I right on that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Three qualifying games. Yeah, it's your best two scores to qualify.
Yeah. Do you want to go over how that worked, just in general?
Sure. So this had a relatively standard system set up, right? So you have three qualifying rounds, best two scores. The scoring system they used was one that I haven't seen before, and I think Adam Silverman created it for this specific tournament. It was a weird one in that scores were relatively low, and they didn't feel like they changed that much. And what was also weird about it was that for places second through seventh, your score was going to be your score regardless of how big anyone else was, which is quite different from a lot of other scoring systems where the bigger the board top is, the worse your score is because they get a bigger share of the pie. In this game, if you're a 10 center second place, you're going to get the same number of points no matter what. For first place, it's a little different. You want as big of a gap as possible between first and second. But other than that, it's the same. You just want to have more centers.
Mm-hmm.
And being higher in the scoreboard was generally less important than being big. We're going to talk a little bit about numbers here. So every center you had got you 10 points. Every placement up the power rankings got you 11. So if you are in sixth place with one center, that's 21 points. Because 10 points for the center and then 11 points for being ahead on the ranking.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 21, and then go all the way up. If there's a tie, both players get the lower score value. So if it's a first and second, if it's two-way tie for first place, both of you get second, which is, yeah, don't tie because it's a waste. Just get the extra points. Due to the nature of this scoring, being big is far more important than being first. If you have a 9 center first place, you get 9 points. You get 90 points for the centers that you have, and then you get I want to say 66 points for being in first. But if you have a 12 center second place, you get 120 points for coming in second, and then you get you got 120 points for your center count, and then 55 points for being in second. So a big second is better than a medium first. I think first gets a little bit extra for the gap between them and between first and second, but that's usually not going to be too big. It's usually going to be like 1 or 2 centers at most.
Okay,
So it's a very weird scoring system.
so generally you just want centers. That's all you
Yes.
care about here, more or less.
Yeah, winning is much, much less important in this scoring system. And this particular game is the third qualifier. So I've already had my first round, I was eliminated, so I got virtually nothing. So that was great. Then in my second game, I had a 9 center second place, which is a relatively solid result. If I have another result that's exactly the same, I probably don't qualify for the top. But if I have the top cut was also weird. It's a top to top. It is a cut to top 21, not a cut to top 7, which means that it's far more lenient. There were 105 people at the tournament, so you just need to be in the top 20% to qualify to be in contention to win. But furthermore, it's like whoever wins the tournament, it's going to be the sum of your 3 games. You get your 2 qualifiers plus your final game. You get a bonus for the final game. So anyways, tournament scoring. We want to do well here, but we don't need to do crazy. We don't need to go for a solo. We don't need to go for like a ridiculous top. I don't know exactly. I wasn't actually doing math, but I was feeling like if I had a big second place, a big second place, like 13 centers, I'd probably be okay. Obviously, preferable to have like a 14 or 15 center first, but we'll see.
Yep.
Yeah, so in my second round, I am going to say that I had a very, very easy and simple game. I was England. There was a France who was a well-known alliance player, and I just allied with him, and we pushed and got as many centers as we could. We reached the stalemate line, and then called it a day. We got a little bit beyond, right? Because he was on 10, I was on 9. So we had 19 centers there, but the board is stalemating enough, we couldn't quite grind it out.
Yeah.
I think.
And if I recall correctly, these games were also untimed, right? They could go to any length of time. So if you want to force someone to stay at the table while you grind out for 3 more centers, you absolutely can do that in this context.
Yep. Absolutely. And that's an important part, I think, of the alliance play style. Because you need to be able to say, we're solid, and we are going to eventually grind centers out of you, and we can be here forever. Timed games obviously don't have that luxury. You have to make big plays quickly to do stuff.
Yep. Alright, so coming into this one, you just felt like you needed a pretty solid score in terms of SCs. Is that correct?
Yep. I just want to be big.
And you drew a great country for that. You're France.
Oh, thank God I'm France. Oh, thank God. Yeah, notably, I had great country draws in the qualifying rounds. I had Germany, England, and France. So, yeah, the fact that I got eliminated as Germany that was a rough one. Anyways, yeah, so I'm France. That's great. I love being France.
Yeah. All right. Well, shall we dive in here and talk about the moves a little bit? Because this is a really interesting first turn board. At least from what from my perspective, there are so many moves here that I wouldn't expect to see, just generally speaking. Do you want to talk about whatever stands out to you the most first?
Sure. So, the Armenian fist bump is the first one. That's what we're important to note. There's a DMZ and Black Sea, and the two of them bounce on Armenia. So it looks like there's going to be a pretty quick juggernaut. That's exciting. Then there's Kiel to Holland, which is another one that's relatively unusual. Normally that goes to Denmark and contests Sweden or something, but here it goes to Holland, which... question marks?
Yeah, it's Kiel to Holland. I mean, genuinely, both of these are really good for Russia, just off the bat, right? This one means that Russia can't get bounced out of Sweden. This one down here means that Russia is not going to have a Turkish fleet in the Black Sea, most likely, unless it turns around in full, but I assume it wouldn't. But yeah, and no bouncing Galicia. They DMZ'd Galicia as well, so everyone is friendly towards the Russian, right?
Yeah, Andrew had a great start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have interrupted you. Do you want to keep on going through them?
No, there's one thing that I wanted to do a bit here, which is unusual, but I was at this table, so I could talk a little bit about the people who was in this game, which is not common, because normally we're just online, right, and we have names, but here we can talk about them. So, Katie Gray is in England, and we have to start with her because she is the best player here. She is one of the best diplomacy players in the world. She was in the DBNI qualifier. She wins tournament after tournament. The tournament that I was at in Vegas last year, she won that one too. So she is a masterful player and very strong. A pleasure to play with and hang around. And the quote, to summarize it, is the vibes at this table were immaculate. That's the line that she used to describe it, and I completely agree. This table was a blast. I had a ton of fun playing with almost everyone here. It was great. That's England. Francisco in Germany is someone who I feel like was a newer player to diplomacy. I think he lives in SoCal. I want to say, unless I got it mixed up with someone else. I met a lot of people at this tournament, but he was great. But I got the vibes pretty quickly, just from initial discussions, that he was not the strongest player. And so when I'm sitting here as France with one of the strongest players in the world as England and me in France, my inclination is to let's just work with England and kill Germany and call it a day. That's my approach, which I know all you Balance of Power players are sitting there saying, "Oh my God, you're working with the strong player. What are you doing?" And I'm like, I'll just take this strong position.
You take the Well, you have the opportunity to take out Casey Gray if you just side with Germany here and go after that way. Why would you choose to do it the other way? Well, then I guess the whole reason is that Casey Gray is a strong enough player that you don't know that you'll be able to get Germany on side. So you're like,
Absolutely.
if you feel a strong sense of I can get an alliance going with England, then you have more confidence in being able to run through with that, right?
Yeah, I can be a better ally than Germany can. And so if I do that, then I'll work with England. Things will be fun. Plus, we'll see. Like, I'm not fully committing to attacking Germany yet. It's obviously spring of '01. I'm France. I'm going to do national defensive stuff, and I'll see if I get centers for free. And the way the negotiations go, actually, both England and Germany are happy to give me Belgium. I wasn't even asking for it, but I'm like, I mean, sure, I guess, whatever. Those are the players in the West. Andrew is Russia, and he is someone who was a Diplostrats fan, which is really cool, and that was awesome. It was great to meet someone there who talked about us, and he was making all sorts of jokes and see that take that and all that. That was great. It was really cool.
Fantastic. So
yeah,
then
it was awesome.
he knew about your reputation as a C.Take player. It's a good thing he's on the other side of the board, eh?
It is a good thing he's on the other side of the board, but I am pretty confident we would have been able to work together pretty well. But yeah. So then in Italy, we have Heimek, I think. Sorry. In Turkey. In Turkey, we have Heimek. Sorry, I'm doing the whole wraparound thing. This was, I think, her third game of diplomacy. And she told us that after the game.
Okay.
And I don't think anyone knew that. She played really, really well. And it was impressive just talking. I was in France, obviously, so I didn't talk to her that much, but things are always smooth and pretty easy. John was in Austria, and I didn't talk to him much at all. These games, you don't have enough time to talk to everyone, and frankly, as France, I tend not to talk to Austria early. Italy was Brandon, and he was an Australian player who was really good. Really, really good. He was describing how he plays in house games 3 days a week down in Australia, because apparently that's how the Australian scene rolls, and that's crazy, and it explains why the Australians win every game, they're getting so good. It's insane, and how they can have their own meta that's so firmly established and is developing at an insane rate, because that's just a lot of diplomacy to play. And so he was a pleasure to talk to. It was great, but obviously that's a little scary. I don't love having hearing that I'm France and there's an Italy and they have their own crazy meta that they've developed a lot and worked really hard. I hope that crazy meta doesn't involve Italy suiciding into France early. I don't know.
The one crazy meta thing that I've seen from Australians recently has been Venice moving back to Tuscany, Rome to Apulia, and Trieste going into Venice, and then them blowing it up in the first year, which I think is terrible. It prevents you from having control over Greece as Austria moving down, but apparently people in Australia really like it at the moment, so hey.
I mean, look, if Austria wants to get another army, and they don't want to kill Turkey really fast...
Yeah, then it's an option. That's true.
Look, man, people can do whatever things they want, and I'm sure giving Trieste to Italy doesn't make a lot of sense a lot of the time, right?
Yeah.
God, that's a center of mine. Yeah. Anyways, crazy meta aside, everyone here was a pleasure to talk to and was great. So I was happy to go anywhere, and from the opening, just looking at the moves on the board, there was a very weird game. This was also a night game. So it started in the evening. It started at 7 o'clock. We've already played a full game of diplomacy earlier today. So a lot of people are going to be tired. And that is something that you're going to see. Just people are exhausted. They're going to make blunders because it's a long day.
Yeah, I've absolutely been in that spot before. You've been playing diplomacy for 8 hours already, and then you have to go into another game.
Yeah, I think the first game most people's ended in, I want to say, I don't even know. But yeah, you played a lot of diplomacy. You have a quick break. You try to get some food in your body, and then you go. And dude, there were some rounds from game one who finished like 20 minutes before the next round started. So they just didn't get a break. It was insane to me. But hey,
Yeesh. Well, at
power to
least
them.
all of them finished in time. No one had to play two at once, right?
Yeah, that's the brutal part.
Yeah, so I noticed things going really well for you here. Munich holding, for one.
Yeah,
Venice holding, nothing in Piedmont, nothing coming to Burgundy, nothing coming to English Channel. That's a dream start as France.
yeah, it's great. I'm pretty really happy with it for sure.
Mhm.
And yeah, I'm pretty happy to see Russia doing well. I like Russia in good position when I'm France. Usually things work out if we do well. And then yeah, like I don't know. I'm happy to see a juggernaut also as France because hey, they'll push on the board, they'll start crushing, and then I'll stay alive and I'll say, "Oops, I can't really help you guys against the juggernaut, but all you guys go deal with it, and then I'll stay alive after or whatever, and
I'll
I'll do
just
something."
stand here with my units directly adjacent to your open centres and not
No,
do
no, no, no,
anything
no.
at
I
all.
won't stay in Burgundy. Not unless you need me to support Munich. Then I'll just be in Burgundy. But no, no, no. I don't know. I can pull back, but either way, the idea is the same. I'll just wait and then I'll kill you guys when the time comes. So I'm really happy if there's a juggernaut on them friends. That's my
Yeah.
yeah, it's great. But I don't know what's gonna happen. As France, my thinking here is still just see if I get Belgium, see if anyone stabs me this phase. Like if they do, then great. I now know what's going on. Obviously, I don't expect anyone to stab me in the fall. Um, and in my standard in online play is to build two fleets in my first year, almost always as friends. Or excuse me, if I get three builds to go two fleets in an army. Actually, let's see the builds. Let's go to
Yeah.
fall so we can actually talk about like
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to talk about here. I do
the
kind of,
spring. Sure.
I guess people who have seen the Turkey video recently will have seen our reasoning behind like what this Armenian fist bump generally is, but yeah, it frees up this fleet to go out, right? This was the other interesting thing that I saw, Vienna to Budapest. It's one of those openings that shows that Austria is very trusting of both of their neighbours, right? Because usually you want to arrange a bounce with one of those two, one of Warsaw or Venice, just to keep one of these two very important provinces safe. And given both of them were doing nothing otherwise, I really would have expected it to bounce with one of them. But it trusts, and that trust pays off, right? Nothing happens that's bad towards Austria here. So that's good to see for Austria. And then this up here, the German move of the fleet, obviously that's pro-Russian in a sense. Usually you would see it accompanied with a move up to Ruhr because it's trying to put a lot of pressure on Belgium straight away.
Yeah.
If we go through to the fall now, you mentioned that both England and Germany wanted you in Belgium, right? So Germany
Yeah.
wasn't going to enforce anything over Belgium with it? Or were they going there to help you get in?
Don't know. But they mentioned that they were okay with me getting Belgium, and I was like, okay, cool. I'll let you know. I'm going up to Burgundy. You can bounce it if you want, but I would like Belgium, so please don't. Um, the big thing is that Katie thinks that this fleet in Holland is really anti-English, and because of how pro-Russia it is, I agree.
Yeah, yeah, I can see it.
It's just like, yeah,
And I can see the reaction to it here too.
yeah.
I can't imagine Germany was very happy about this.
No, I can't imagine he was either, because that's pretty rough.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah, damn. Because also, even if you're really annoyed at England for this, what are you gonna do to them? You can build like Fleet Berlin and try and slowly cycle it forward. You haven't really got a
yeah,
response.
yeah. And
Um,
look, there's a Russian army in Silesia now.
okay, I hadn't looked at this. I had seen the south of the board went very differently to how I was expecting it to. And
Yeah,
probably very different to how Russia was expecting it to as well, given
probably.
this.
Yeah,
This
I think
is
so.
an absolutely insane board. Okay, very quickly first, let's look at the south and why this is so unexpected. Turkey had the opportunity to stab for Black Sea in Spring '01, right? They didn't take it. They moved their fleet out to Con, so it could go to Aegean. Now the fleet stays in Constantinople, support holding Bulgaria, which doesn't actually need a support hold in this instance. But it's like, I think the thing about it is it's not committing to attacking Russia, right? But it's also not committing to attacking Austria. I feel like this move right here is Turkey saying, I'm not sure how I want the game to go, but I want to leave my options open right now. But this is very different. This is saying, I'm siding with Austria, sorry. Right? And then just to cap that off, you have Ionian Sea going to Tunis instead of convoying Apulia over to Tunis, which is actually really good for Turkey. Turkey will be very, very happy to see this, right? The fleet going out. And Italy either stabs Austria or takes by agreement Trieste, so they're getting 2 builds. And that's just... I mean, this whole thing is just insane. And then, of course, on top of that, you've got the army in Warsaw marching off to Cilicia.
Despite all the chaos with Austria in the south, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then, also one more thing to note is Smyrna is covered, so Turkey can't put down a fleet in Smyrna.
Mm-hmm.
Oops.
Man.
Yikes.
But then Turkey doesn't really need to be defending this area too much because the Italian fleet ran off to Tunis, right?
Yeah.
So...
yeah, they've got time.
My read on the situation would be that it's an Italy-Turkey alliance primarily, and they're actually pretty well positioned to work together here, right?
Yeah, but then why is why is Turkey supporting Austria and Romania?
Just to negate both of these players getting...
then why not also go into Black Sea and Armenia?
Yeah, it's quite confusing.
Because you could have such a potent attack on Russia, but...
yeah,
it's really cool and very weird.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how the East plays out, and we haven't even got to the part where you are. I can't imagine you were happy to see this either, like Ionian moving to Tunis.
I was perfectly fine with it. Really? Honestly, it was fine. Like, I don't really care. What's he gonna do to me? I'm France. Right? I'm literally like, yeah, okay. Sure, buddy.
Oh, what if they place down fleet and then go Western Mediterranean Tuscany?
Well, I'm putting down fleet Brest, and I'm moving Portugal into Spain's south coast and Brest to mid-Atlantic Ocean, as you do.
Yeah, that's actually also true. You have a really solid defense.
Right? Like, so... and then also, I'm doing the, like, my favorite tactic of Army Marseille moving into Piedmont to Muta Tyrolia. Because the East is so crazy, I want to play.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to be stuck in the West forever, not doing anything. And yeah, maybe it'll help me with Munich. But that's where I'm thinking. I'm thinking Army Marseille is actually going to be valuable here. As I was saying, I normally, when I have 3 builds as France, I usually put down Fleet Brest, Fleet Marseille, Army Paris. And then I go Brest, English Channel, Portugal to Mid-Atlantic Ocean, Marseille to Spain South Coast. And then I just say, hey, England, yeah, we're fine. Don't worry about it. And it works remarkably well. It works better if I only have 2 builds and Germany has Belgium, because then I can say, oh, I'm just going to English Channel. I'll be in Picardy to help you take Belgium. And, like, that works pretty well. But, obviously I already have Belgium, so it's a little more difficult for me to explain away being an English Channel.
Yeah, I'm just going to English Channel so I can go via North Sea to Heligoland so I can take Holland. Don't mind me.
Don't mind me, yeah. That'd be great. I would appreciate that.
I'm sure Casey Gray will accept that excuse.
I mean, she would have laughed. But, nah, it's tough in real life games when, like, this is my first time, like, playing on a table with Katie. She's not the previous server, I didn't play with her. And so, like, trying to get a sense of, like, which jokes work, which jokes don't, what tactics does she think are utterly insane. Like, I was jokingly suggesting a convoy to Denmark at some point that she thought I was serious about, and I realized that hurt our relationship a little bit, because I'm saying that as France, because, oh yeah, because I wanted to be exposed to a stab, but I'm just like, dude, you never put an army in Denmark. Like, she could, and we'll talk. The opportunity might come up where I remember when it happened. But, point is, this board is something like a dream. I'm just flabbergasted at everything that's happening right now, because everyone is working with me and the East is in chaos, and so no one's gonna like crush out of the gate. So I have all the time in the world to do well, and I have a solid ally, and like both of my neighbors are attacking each other.
Yeah, this
Like,
is huge.
yeah,
Like, as
right.
France, this is so beautiful.
Yeah, and like Germany is helping me into Belgium. Like, dude, this is great.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, so is there anything else you want to talk about here, or shall we just move on to the winter?
Um, I think we can go into winter and we can see all the builds and see how cool everything is.
Okay, so winter 1901. Yeah, army, fleet. So you got to the point of saying you would usually build fleet, and then rotate round,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I didn't justify why I built an army this time.
yeah.
Yeah. So one is that the East is cool. And yeah, being in Tyrolia is fun. I can still make plays. And then I'm gonna let Germany's build determine a lot. And you notice Germany put down an army in Berlin instead of a fleet.
Yeah.
Like that's like okay, Germany. That
That's
doesn't feel like it resonates with getting bounced out of Denmark. It doesn't feel like it works with the fleet in Holland, right? Like I don't know how these are going to coordinate, but
you know what the problem here is, right? In face-to-face games, I assume this was the same at the World Championship. You don't get to talk in the build phase, right?
yeah,
So Germany had just seen, yeah, I got stabbed by England and I got stabbed by Russia here. If I put down a fleet here, I have to very slowly cycle it forward and it takes a full year to get adjacent to England, right? If I
yeah,
put down an army, then at least I can oust the Russian immediately here. Maybe
yeah,
Germany wasn't paying very much attention when things were being called out down here, and that's very easy to do in a face-to-face game. Just as a heads
yeah,
up, like you're not seeing the arrows on the board. You're just hearing someone read off a list of orders, and they're not even like they read them off country by country, so you only get half of the orders that are happening in a place at a time, right? And then maybe you have to wait 3 order sheets before you see the rest of that resolution. Everyone's just
yeah,
focused on their own side of the board. They may have missed the fact that Russia had just got bounced out of Romania and so was probably going to pull this back again. It's certainly not as obvious as it would be when you're looking at it online like this.
yeah. That's all true. I will add to the bit about order reading is that experienced face-to-face players, you take turns deciding who is going to read out the orders. And so you always have to do yours first, but you can read the others in any order that you choose. And so there is depth to remembering which order you want to read out the other powers in. Um, because it is incredibly important. Because as you pointed out, Germany here might have literally forgotten about the bounce in Romania. And so
Mhm.
if you make sure to get that out of the way first, right, you get Austria, Turkey out of the way first, then you do England's bounce in Denmark, then you read Russia's orders to see what happens in the area and get that army in Silesia to be fresh in Germany's memory. That's like a thing that
Yeah.
makes sense,
Okay, that's a
right?
level of metagaming that I've not done. Like,
It's tournament play, man. You gotta think about it. And so yeah, and if you're stabbing someone, maybe you want to do it at the start of the phase to give them the most time to think about it because you want them to get over the level of piss that you feel when someone's stabbing you first, or you want to do it at the end of the phase so they have less time to think about tactics and counter plays, whatever. So different times, different folks. It's different in spring versus fall. You gotta level. It's a thing that matters. It only happens when you're reading, which is only going to be 1 out of every 7 because if you take turns on it. But
yeah.
yeah, be careful
People
about it.
people don't always take turns on it either. At the UK nationals that I was at, it basically went to the same person every single time. So,
Yeah,
uh,
they volunteer for it.
yep.
They eat the powers in the same order every time.
Well, yeah. So, I don't know. It was usually just in the order I think the sheets were handed to them, but
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Notice if they ever shuffle papers around, because sometimes people just do that, just nonchalantly.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, you
I
were
noticed
saying
this.
that.
It's cool.
Army Berlin came down instead of Fleet Berlin, so I assume what you
Yeah.
were leading up to with that was I don't like Army Berlin, so I think I'm going to side with England here, right?
It makes it harder for me to attack England. And then obviously there's an army build in Warsaw, nothing in St. Pete. So
hmm
England's not under any pressure either. And yeah, we're solid allies. So I'm not going to do anything crazy. Yeah,
Yep.
sure.
I
Easy.
do also notice Italy took 2 centers here to waive a build.
Oh, I might have screwed that up. I was doing the sandbox for this,
Okay.
and I'm doing the sandbox live while the game actually happened. No, I think they did screw up. I think they tried to build Fleet Tunis. I think they misordered. Yes.
Oh boy. Okay. Presumably
Yeah,
they wanted to build Fleet Naples in that case.
I believe so. Yes, that is my assumption as well.
Yeah. This is a problem. I mean, in diplomacy in general, right? If you screw up your orders and they get read out by someone, you cannot go back and change them because at that point you have the advantage of having heard everyone else's. So, if you mess something like that up, sucks to be you, I guess.
Yeah,
You're playing down.
you don't need that build anyways.
Yeah. I mean, Tunis is going to have to go back to Ionian anyway, right? The only way that Fleet Naples is immediately useful is if they're coming this way. So I guess you're happy about it.
I'm really happy to see Italy build only an army, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, that's great news for me because it means that I also think that France is a naval power, and so I see fleets as generally hostile to France. And the only fleet build in the entire West, well, I built one, and then England put down Fleet Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, yeah, this feels pretty good.
Yep. Alright. Well, anything else you want to say before we move on to Spring of '02?
Let's look at spring, sure.
Alright. So, going into spring... Okay, there's immediately a few things that I want to point out. I guess relevant to you, it looks like Germany flipped on you immediately.
Dun, dun. All right, well, I guess that's that.
Yeah.
To be clear, I was probably leaning towards working with England anyways, given the whole thing. But the army build and then this kind of makes me like, all right, cool, nice try, Germany.
Yeah. For those not familiar with backstabber orders, this fleet in Holland is attempting to support North Sea into Belgium. But North Sea doesn't take the support, it goes to Skagerrak instead. Skagerrak, I mean, this is just a really nice spot for England, right? 2 fleets on Denmark, 2 fleets on Sweden. They can kind of do whatever they want and open St. Petersburg at the same time. It's, yeah, kind of insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. It's happy, right? It's what happens if Germany is, I think, a little weaker, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Germany is naturally in a tougher position in the East, right? In the West, excuse me. And if Germany's not doing anything and England and France are just going to say, all right, let's roll, like, they're going to roll. And there's really not much that anyone's going to do about it.
Yeah. I assume that you getting into your hopes of getting into Tyrolia here are a little slim, just because of Italy
So I
coming
didn't
up.
tell you about the move into Piedmont, obviously. Italy was a little bit annoyed about that. I mean, that's fine. He's allowed.
I mean,
But
combined with
also,
this.
oh, come on, it's fine. I'm just gonna sit around. Don't worry about it, man.
Mm-hmm. Alright.
And I apologized. I was like, yeah, look, I understand you're gonna be defensive against me. You're gonna have to try to stop it, but, like, I'm not gonna move in there. You can't trust me, so you're gonna do something. It's fine. Don't worry about it. We'll be okay. I'm backing out of Piedmont. I can't get into Tyrolia. Sorry. We'll be fine.
Alrighty.
And that's really how I feel about the whole thing. Because, like, what's he gonna do? Even if, no matter how pissed at me he is, he's gonna move into Piedmont, Western Med, and something like, okay, sure, go for it.
I mean, presumably at this point you guys just arranged to bounce in Western Med, right?
Now I tell him I'm not going in there, but you're free to move in if you want.
Really?
Yeah.
But he's absolutely gonna go to Western Med because I would never in a million years believe you after doing this.
I would rather have him be in Western Med than be in Ionian or Aegean, right? Like, I don't want him moving his fleet east. I'm happy for that fleet to be useless.
Why do you not want it moving east?
Because I don't want it to be Turkey. I want Turkey to have enough time to go and get big and then be a late game threat so I can also win. I want Turkey to do well.
Alright, fair enough.
Balance of power.
God. Oh, man. Yeah, looking at the east here, as you mentioned, Turkey going Con to Smyrna, Smyrna to Ankh to Black Sea. So usually you would see the support up here, but if they knew that Sevastopol wasn't coming out, right, then this actually works okay, and it leaves this fleet in a more defensive position. What
Yeah.
you don't love having as Turkey is two fleets stuck on Black Sea, necessarily. So you generally need the two fleets in order to take Black Sea in the first place, but after you've taken it, the second fleet is basically useless unless Russia also has two fleets there. So you want to start mobilizing it out. Here they mobilized it pretty early. This is really unfortunate, because what I assume this is, on Backstabber, it's obviously more obvious that Budapest is just supporting Serbia. But in terms of order writing, when you're writing it down by hand, this is someone writing Serbia to Romania, Budapest supports Serbia. And then forgetting that they need to specify the exact order. You can't implicitly say Budapest supports whatever Serbia is doing. You have to say Budapest supports Serbia to Romania. So it's just entered as Budapest supports Serbia hold, which doesn't work, and therefore Russia gets into Romania. Which I assume Austria really didn't want to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. This, and things just look painful for Austria here, because this is clearly a stab, right? Italy moving in with two armies on this front. Although, they're leaving Ionian open.
Instead of from Trieste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're leaving Ionian open, so it's not like full force, I guess.
Well, I mean, if they hadn't left, if they had moved back to Ionian, they'd probably lose Tunis next year.
That is true. But
given the misorder, right, where they didn't build.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah.
But yeah, just generally, this is a really painful turn for Austria, letting Russia get into Galicia and the misorder letting them into Romania, and Italy coming up behind them. That's just...
Good news is Turkey's a Black Sea now, and that's usually not great for the Juggernaut. Usually they're going to stab each other, right?
Yeah, I mean, they already stabbed each other, right? Turkey stabbed Russia on the last turn, supporting Austria into Romania.
But still no army in Armenia, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it is a very slow attack on Russia. Either that or it's a very hedged attack, as in I want to be able to pivot as quickly as possible. Maybe this is... I guess, actually, the possibility is there now that Russia's in Romania for, like, Romania support Bulgaria to Serbia, or Trieste support Bulgaria to Serbia, and convoy this army into Bulgaria. And then Austria is kind of screwed. But yeah. So, that's basically everything I want to talk about in the East.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to cover here? Because I assume West is more your kind of thing, although you already mentioned...
Oh, I mean, the West is more my kind of thing, but also the West, there's not much to talk about.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, I mean, the support, right? Holland supporting North Sea into Belgium, right? And it was okay, sure. I don't, if I'm Germany, I don't think I'm going to make a pitch to England after they bounced me out of Denmark, personally.
Yeah, but then how are you gonna get into after you build Army Berlin? I feel like you don't have a choice but to appease England in some way.
Well, you can pitch. I would make a pitch to Russia, right? As we've talked about, I would try to get Russia to support me into Denmark, and then I would have put down Fleet Berlin to try to appease Russia, and then whatever. But the point is, I don't think I'm going to try to work with England to attack France here. I'm going to try to work with France to attack England.
Mm-hmm.
But this is where Katie Gray comes in, and she's really good at diplomacy, and she was able to make Germany think that she was on side. And by convincing Germany to do that, instead of doing something like going to Helgoland, or instead of more seriously pitching me on an attack against England, which he just didn't do at all, things were, right, that really soured my relationship. And any potential of me attacking Katie in the opening just sort of evaporated.
Mm-hmm. All right, yeah, I mean...
But in my position, it's not like the attacking against Germany is going to have any struggles. Kiel ended up in Denmark, right? And so if I support myself into Ruhr, the only way that Germany can stop it is by tapping Belgium and then having Munich go to Ruhr, which seems pretty unlikely if you ask me, based on the tactics that this German player showed. And so I'm probably going to be in Ruhr, Belgium, and Burgundy with a friendly England who's going to be pushing into Denmark. We're going to be getting Holland, like everything is exploding. Germany's going to be dead by 04. So great.
Yeah.
Seems fine. It's not like I'm sad about needing to kill Germany here. It's just like, okay, maybe I would have rather tried to go after England, but no, doesn't always happen. Take what you get.
Yeah, and I mean, you already said you were leaning England's way before that, right? So...
Oh yeah, I probably was. But again, Germany didn't really pitch it to me, right? Like England was very strongly pitching, yeah, we'll just kill Germany. It's easy. It's no struggle at all, right? And like when someone is pitching you on an alliance and the other person isn't, I'm probably going to go one way. And I still view the West as a like two people are going to attack the third. I really don't believe in a Western triple.
Yeah.
Especially not when one of them is pitching me to attack the other. Right. And so if one of them is pitching me to attack and then the third person is not, I just, okay, I guess that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the Western Triple is often said it's an England-France alliance disguised, right? It's England-France pushing Germany in front of them with a gun at their back, basically. Or with sweet words at their back and then stabbing them anyway.
yep.
I guess stabbing them with the gun doesn't make much sense, but
Yeah,
anyway.
the knife at their back metaphor works a little better. But yeah, Point is, it's usually just an EF. And so a lot of Germany's don't like... Anyways, it's fine.
Yeah.
In this position, I was leaning towards England because England was pitching me to attack Germany, and Germany was not pitching me to attack England at all. Which, again, I felt was crazy. Like, after the Holland move... Or, excuse me. In, like, the first year they were doing that pitch, but then this phase they didn't really. And this phase was, like, the first phase where I think real things could happen. But they didn't. So, okay.
Yep. Alright. I mean, that's a hole I fall into a lot of the time, too, when you've decided who to side with. Sometimes it's very easy just not to pitch the other player on moving. Which leaves you very vulnerable to a stab like this when the person you decided to work with just decides to go against you, right? And the other person knew that you were going to attack them because you weren't pitching them on anything.
I suspected they were going to attack me, but also, like, I don't know, my moves didn't really change. And in face-to-face diplomacy where your time is so short, really try to focus on what moves are you going to have to make and like what important conversations, what relationships do you want to establish and work on, because you don't have time to think about like, oh, will this person attack me or not? Well, it doesn't really change what I'm going to move anyways, so I don't care about it, right? Yeah. And so I needed to get into that mental space is important.
Okay, so shall we move on to the fall?
Yeah.
All right, fall 1902. I mean, yep, that was what Italy was always going to do after you did this. But yeah, you said you're happy about it, right?
I'm perfectly content with this, man. What's he going to do to me? I'm France.
I mean, they've got Piedmont as well. You've kind of based all their units in this direction. I feel like that might be a bit too much.
What's he going to do to me? I'm France.
I mean, you're not wrong.
It's so absurd. I just have two enemies who are both, like, pissed at me, right? I'm committing to an attack against Germany with 4 units, and simultaneously Italy is attacking me, and I just don't care. Like, literally, I know that he's going to turn around immediately because he can't do anything to me. His units are so uncoordinated. And, like, even if he builds a fleet in Rome, even if he moves it as fast as possible, it's not going to make contact until like next year, and even then I'm still in mid-Atlantic Ocean, Spain and Marseille. I put anything down in Gascony because I'm obviously going to get to build some Germany. Italy is a good player, recognizes they're never going to get anything from this. This is just because when France moves like this, 90%, I don't know, 90, a large percentage of the time with the move into Piedmont, mid-Atlantic Ocean and Spain South Coast are moving into Western Med and North Africa.
Yep.
That's just what usually happens. I obviously don't want to do that because I'm not going to take Tunis. Italy has a build in his pocket. It's going to be a fleet in Naples, and so if they bounce Western Med, I'm not going to get into Tunis before fleet Naples can cover Tunis. I'm not going to take anything. It's not going to matter. I don't want to deal with it, and it's not going to happen. So sure, fine. I'm not going to take it. That's okay. I'll be set up to stab England at some point. A lot of England's are a little bit too lax about things, and let me kill them. So I'm in Mid-Atlantic Ocean in Spain.
I love how
This is great.
like you can also be smug about this and go, "I told you so." I wasn't going to Western Med.
I was not smug at all. Here I'm very apologetic because I'm like, hey, I recognize I attacked you, and I know that you have to make these defensive moves because you're attacking me, right? Because like, you felt you were being attacked. I totally get it. I'm sorry you got to do it, but like, it's fine. I told you I wasn't moving into the south. We're good. Let's be friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, obviously, like I could have self-bounced on Western Med or whatever, but I don't want to do that, so that's fine.
Yep, and basically no one makes any progress on the Eastern Front, right?
Yep.
Turkey
A whole lot of
taps
bouncing.
Romania at the same time as tapping Serbia?
Yep.
I assume maybe had, like, Italy's agreed support into Serbia or something like that. Or thought that Austria was gonna support Serbia into Trieste. That might make a bit more sense here. But
Yeah.
again, and probably felt like they needed something to backfill Bulgaria in order to like jump into Serbia like this. I really would have liked to see this go to Armenia. I feel like here with Black Sea,
You'd
you've
rather
got
go
such a
against
nice,
Russia?
yeah.
Yeah.
But then I can't really fault Turkey for deciding to side with Russia either, because it's clear that Austria is not going to be able to give much assistance here, right? With Italy on their
But
back.
if you are siding with Russia, I would also like to see Smyrna go into Aegean.
Yes, that's true. It feels like Turkey is trying to sit on the fence, maybe just a little too much here, at least for my liking. Austria gets all the lucky guesses. I say lucky, I mean, here, you would expect something to tap Trieste either way, so maybe it's more that Italy, because of your move into Piedmont, didn't feel like they could do it this way around.
Yeah, and that's sad. I'm really sorry that like the best player in the East isn't able to get big builds.
They do get a build because they waived one last time.
Sure, they have one waived, yeah. Man, I'm really sad.
Alright, well that about covers the East. I think the only person who really made progress was Russia with this move to Ukraine, right? Their position is solidifying. But then they're also leaving themselves so vulnerable to England here.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're working with England. England's a friend. You can trust Katie.
Yeah, I mean, this is what happens. They decide to support England into Denmark. And actually, does Denmark support hold Sweden here? Yeah, it does.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Germany is making a pitch to Russia to say, okay, if the two of us work together here, maybe we can stay alive. Tactically, that's not quite true. If England gets the vibes that they're working together and wants to go after Russia, which is also a question mark, they can just tap Denmark to cut the support.
Yeah, and then go in with two.
Yeah. But, anyways.
But yeah, this is a good move on Germany's part. Keeps the English out of Heligoland Bight, which is a very important province, but of course, absolutely nothing they can do about Ruhr with that in mind. So now...
Yeah, I can't believe I didn't think to request to get supported into Holland here.
I mean, I was going to say that is something that I would probably ask for here, but then again, when you're thinking about France-England splits, usually England gets Holland, right?
Yeah, usually, but I'm in Ruhr in Belgium now, so you tell me who's getting Holland.
Yeah. I love this, that Yorkshire is still sitting here. It's just going, nope, France, you are not going to do the thing where you go up to North Atlantic and Mid-Atlantic and convoy it. I have
we were
something
talking
to
about
prevent.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, any other insights you care to give about this situation right now?
I'm feeling really happy.
Yep. I can see why.
Sorry?
I can see why, yeah.
I'm France. And my God, is it so relaxing to just be France. Yeah.
Man. Alright, it's very relaxing to be France when you don't get hit in English Channel, Burgundy, and Piedmont in spring 1901. Cough, cough, Media Wars 4.
Obviously,
cough.
France can have problems even if you're an amazing player. Unlike me, I'm not an amazing player. And I think bad players never have problems as France, which is the funny part. Because bad players, no one's like, oh yeah, we gotta go take them out. It's only the good players that people are like, oh god, it's someone great in France. We've got to take him out. This is our only chance. Sound the alarms.
Alright, well, shall we go to Winter 02?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, power rankings done. So, who would you put at the top of the power rankings here?
France, baby. Me. I think I'm in first. I think I'm a god.
I think that is very fair. I think it's between you and England, right?
I agree.
England having a clear St. Pete... Oh, I guess it's not clear anymore, actually.
Not anymore. Fleet St. Pete, South Coast, baby.
Yeah.
Isn't that just the best build in the world for France? Aren't I just ecstatic?
I mean, I feel like you'd prefer Russia to be
North
putting up a
Coast?
fight against England, yeah, right?
Yeah, maybe actually. I think I would prefer that. You're right. Man, only the second best build. Damn.
But yeah.
The point is, I want a fleet in the north because that is going to cause tensions. It means that Russia is not prepared to just give up Scandinavia. Fleet the south coast helps hold Sweden and is still quite useful against England in the long run. It's going to get ready to fight with Denmark. North coast is also very committal right now against Norway, and it probably doesn't even do very much. And it might get Sweden popped. It might trigger an EG actually, which would be pretty scary. Like, I don't know if I want England and Germany to start working together right now. Right, that is the way things could go poorly. If they look at the fleet in Western Med, the army in Piedmont, to say, oh, France is tied down for a while, we can try to collapse.
Yeah.
The collapse isn't exactly fast, but, like, yeah, maybe they could snipe Belgium or something, right? It could be ugly. Take Belgium, pop Ruhr. I don't know. Anyways, so I think this is useful because I still, like, Germany stabbed me, man. Like, I don't know.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And then, so you're putting yourself in first place on the leaderboard, and then England second, I assume, right?
Yep. Me and my ally, first and second. Let's go.
And then, I don't know whether I'd choose Russia or Italy here as third. Russia has a nicer position here, but they also have a worse position here, right? Being directly adjacent to someone very large who's threatening to run in on them.
Yeah, it's doing very well. I think, but also Italy, it's not like I'm not threatening to run in on Italy, right? It's why Mid-Atlantic Ocean and Spain are so stupid. Because I can attack England, but I can also attack Italy, and neither of them can do anything about it because I'm also defensive. Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, so which would you put above the other in terms of Russia and Italy?
I would rather be playing Russia here than Italy.
Okay.
Because I think that I think that Russia and Turkey right now are working a little bit together, and with some solid tactics can just clean up Austria and then push into Italy.
Gotcha.
Whereas I think Italy needs to prop up Austria right now, but that's not what Italy's been trying to do. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so so we're doing France, then England, then Russia, then Italy. After that, I assume Turkey? Turkey's position is pretty
I could see putting Turkey
alright.
above Italy, actually.
Okay.
Just, I think having, like, the solid ally, I assume that Russia and Turkey are solid right now. And so...
Even after the tap on Romania last turn?
You know, I mean, really, you should be the one doing these power rankings, because I know how this game goes.
Oh, this is true. Yeah, okay. Well, I would put Italy above Turkey, personally, because their position just looks a little better. It's more spread out and stuff, right? But also the fact that Turkey's been tapping Romania, like, Russia is clearly not going to be that happy with them, and I feel like that could lead to them getting hit here. The fact that they're not getting threatened on the south is really important, and is why they're still in a pretty nice spot, I think. But I also don't see immediate expansion. It's just... I mean, it's kind of where you want to be as Turkey, right? You're under the radar enough in the early game, but you're also not, like, out of the game. You're not super strong or super weak. So then, after that, I guess Austria and Germany take the final two spots. It's kind of tough to say which one is worse. Because this Germany is just completely screwed if you two go in on them, and the Austria is similarly completely screwed if Italy and Russia go in on them. So I guess in my mind it's which alliance is more likely to stick together. I think I can see more diplomatic options for Austria getting out of this just because of the way that Turkey has been playing. I don't think Russia is going to trust them very much, so... But then how does Russia get the fleet out of the way in order to work with them? God. Yeah, anyway, I'm gonna lock that in, say Austria, then Germany, in terms of my power rankings. So here. We will put them like that. Alright.
Ezio's on top.
Ezio has the France bonus.
Yeah, Ezio's France.
Alright, shall we go to the spring?
Yeah.
Okay. Spring 1903. Okay. There's a lot going on here. Do you want to talk through your, situation?
Yeah, I mean, my situation, I'm supporting myself into Holland. I don't want anything weird to happen with Munich involving, Italy or Austria getting in there, so I'll toss it as support. Why not? And then I'm telling Italy, hey, I'm just going to be sitting around happy. You can back up.
Mm-hmm.
And then Italy backs up, so that's great. I don't know.
Yeah.
Nothing too complicated. Right? It's like, okay.
It looks like
and then I hope you appreciate...
Sorry, go on.
Sorry? I hope you appreciate the balls by just taking Holland from Belgium instead of from Ruhr. They're just like, yeah, there's two armies adjacent to Ruhr. Either one of them can tap. Yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah, but I guess it's also like spring, so if this fails this turn, you just go in the other way in the fall, right?
Yeah,
but then Ruhr could have got blown up here, which would have been very funny.
Yeah. But hey, and that's the fun part of tactics. When you're feeling it, right, things just work out, and it's fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're just kind of rolling right now, I assume.
We have a good ally, and we're safe, and, nothing's ever gonna stop us. Right? Mm-hmm. This board is, the chaos in the East. I want it to be chaotic for, 2 more years. Just enough time for, me to get into rolling in Bohemia and stuff.
Yeah, I assume England is gonna demand Kiel out of this, right?
Yes, yeah, Kiel should be England.
And then you get Munich, and Russia is probably gunning for Berlin, but I can't imagine they're going to get given.
But England's going to get it, yeah.
Yep. Alright, and the East is still absolutely insane. That's my read on the situation.
Yeah, but it's also a spring phase, and so nothing matters in the spring.
Well, I mean, it does. It matters. Positioning matters quite a lot, right?
Nah, no centers can change hands. Who cares?
Well, Galicia walking into Vienna is pretty important.
Maybe, but it's going to get kicked out.
Is it? I guess if this pivots up, but that means that Italy is going to get back into Trieste, and also there's no defense on Serbia anymore if they do that. That's, it's a little tough. But anyway, yeah, there's a lot of strange things happening here. Again, it feels like Turkey is fence-sitting, so here, they're not attacking Russia, right? They're also not attacking Austria, they're just letting Austria do their own thing, and they're moving Smyrna out to Aegean. I wonder if they're gunning for a triple alliance now?
Yeah.
clearly,
Maybe, but it's unlikely a triple while Russia's trying to take Vienna, right?
Yeah. Unless Austria deliberately let Russia into Vienna in order to take Trieste without a retreat there.
Yeah.
Actually, I could see that.
Yeah, and they're just going to get supported into Tyrolia.
Yeah, desperation play. I don't know if I'd take the support into Tyrolia if I was Russia. I might just go, I'll support myself into Budapest. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I'll take the classic.
But
where's that balance of power now?
As look, okay. I don't think this East needs any more balancing power than it already has.
Yeah, again, the balance of power should be firmly on my side.
Yes, exactly. You're balancing everyone else's power, not your own. But yeah, so The other things to note, I guess, is Sweden moving to Baltic, St. Petersburg moving to Bothnia here. England still has 2 on Sweden, and Russia has 2 on Sweden, so it's theoretically defended.
Yeah, but Russia's also got to guess on St. Pete if they're fighting England.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing backing St. Pete up, and if I were this England, I feel like this is the moment where I choose to snipe St. Pete if I'm going with you for the long haul anyway. Although,
sure.
I am aware that if I do commit to that, I would be trusting Ezio.
Please take St. Pete right now. Please. I would be so happy. I'm putting down a fleet in Brest no matter what, and I'm building.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And yeah, it's just moving south. I can't leave Marseille. There's an army in Piedmont. God, that's so unfortunate.
So Brest is the only place I can
Brest is the only place I can build a fleet. Oh, man.
Oh, boy. Yeah, actually, I might not snipe St. Pete here, but my worry is that if this Russia gets Vienna and supports into Budapest on this turn, right, then your opportunity to take anything in the north just goes away.
And if you're going for St. Pete, right, they're putting something down in Moscow, you've alienated them, because they've been working with you, right? They supported you into Denmark, you're trying to take Berlin, right? So, yeah, I sniping St. Pete is a significant play here.
Mm-hmm.
That might work out, but also it might backfire heavily. And, like, I don't know. I feel like you're probably just going to get Kiel, and you're fine, so I don't know.
Yeah, if you go in on Russia here, you're betting so hard on France not just coming up to North Atlantic and going in on you.
Yeah.
And given it's you, I wouldn't take that chance.
I'm such a good ally. I really wish we had the previous game on here, because the previous game of this is one where I was the England in an EF, and we just steamrolled the board, and I let my partner board top.
Okay,
Jim, was just...
I do want to talk about this a second. Part of the reason why we're covering these games is that Ezio came to me and said, I want to cover these games for my PR purposes, right?
It's important.
And especially,
I am an Alliance player through and through.
Because you've spent, 5 years at this point saying C. Take. A lot of people don't trust you for whatever reason.
Look at how I play, and look at when the cards are down in the most important tournament of the year. Look at how I play.
But genuinely,
I'm an Alliance player through and through.
Genuinely, right before this session, when we were discussing which games to cover, Ezio sent me both of the Backstabber games from this one and the previous one. The previous one where he stuck to his alliance throughout and nothing happened, apart from them taking a lot of centers, right?
It was a perfect game. It was so easy.
Are we really going to cover that one where nothing happens?
Okay, there actually might have been stuff that happened in the East that I didn't notice because I was just England and who cares what happens in the East?
Yeah, fair enough.
But I think it's worth a little bit of time to show that not only am I willing to be an Alliance player, I am willing to make my ally have more points than me at the end if I think it's a good enough result for me.
Yes.
Look at that.
Genuinely, the reasoning for potentially covering that other game was, it puts me in such a good light, we need to put this on the channel to negate the years of C. Take.
It doesn't negate the years of C. Take, but it does at least show that when push comes to shove in a real tournament, look at how I play. Right? That's the important part.
Alright. But yes, so right now we'll see how it goes. Even given that previous game, I wouldn't really be trusting you with Middle Atlantic Ocean Spain sat here.
Oh yeah, why did I build Fleet Brest?
Yup. Alright, shall we go forward to the fall?
Sure.
Alright, fall 1903 here. You get Munich as well. Oh, well done. So, double builds.
Everything is getting tapped, right?
Yeah. And I see Katie just held with everything apart from what was taking Kiel. So, keeping options very open. But yeah, this is... I mean, it's an interesting tap from the Russian fleet because you've got to assume Honestly, as the Russian here, I would just support Heligoland to Kiel. I wouldn't tap Berlin, because I want Germany to have the option to support Hold Munich. If I'm 100% set on working with England, I can go...
But Russia wasn't. Because right around here, Russia was starting to pitch me to attack. Actually, was he? We've been talking about Katie a lot, because Katie obviously was the big threat on the board, and so Andrew and I had been talking about it. And so he was like, hey, we're going to need to hit Katie at some point. I want you to be strong and ready to do that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Man. Okay, so, yeah, he tapped Berlin knowing that would help you get into Munich as well. And I guess, yeah, that does set you up on going for Kiel. We'll see how that goes for them. I'm so glad the East worked out how I thought. Well, not how I thought.
Yeah, it was very nice.
I thought that Russia was 100% stabbing here, but this is what Austria would have wanted to happen, right?
Yeah, but then look, Russia stabbed Turkey.
Yeah, I mean, bloody well played to the Austrian for getting out of this situation somehow. They come out of this with a build.
It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely insane. And nothing actually moves on this front, because Turkey is pushing this unit forward with 2, and Russia is pushing this unit forward with strength 2, so they cancel each other out, basically, even despite this being cut. But they still gain Trieste, so 1 extra build here. And, oh my god, they blow up the Italian unit and take the center at the same time, so Italy doesn't get a choice on what to disband. They have to take this unit off.
Notably, Italy did tap Marseille, so Piedmont could have supported Tyrolia, chose not to.
Yes, indeed. Alright. Well, yeah, that's a super interesting East then, and a really good West for you.
And England.
Did you tell England prior to this that you're going to be putting down Fleet Brest?
I don't remember.
Okay.
What's she going to do about it, I mean?
Yeah. Are you at this point assuming she will be fine with it?
Yeah.
Alright, fine.
Because everyone is fine with everything that I do this game, right? Everyone is just my friend and is happy to see me win the game with, 16 centers. That's how it is. I mean, who wouldn't want that to happen?
Yeah. You're just like
charismatic. Italy walked away from me. Germany's not defending against me. England's not attacking me. Russia wants to help me. Shit, I think even Austria offered me support to Venice at some point. But I don't know.
All right. Is there anything else you want to talk about on this phase, or shall we move forward to the winter?
Yeah. I mean, we can go on to winter of 03 and then look at this. And before we go on to spring, we should talk about some stuff, because this was where a lot of negotiations started to happen.
Okay.
Right. The big one is what do we want to do with... Germany's been talking to Katie a lot and is now successfully pitched I want to just be alive until the end of the game. And Katie's like, sure, we can use it. That's fine. And then he disbanded Berlin, kept Silesia. And then it's do we want to put Russia into Berlin or not? Right. This is kind of the year in spring of 04 where Germany's dead. Right. We accomplished our objective.
Yep.
Do I stab or not? This is kind of it in my mind, because Italy's under pressure and isn't going to go after me anytime soon. If I think... Right, and notably, there's another army built, which is really smart. I think that's a really, really good build from Katie. Because, again, it guarantees there will be an army on the British mainland right now, even if I go up to North Atlantic English Channel, or whatever, Irish Sea English Channel. I'm not guaranteed to get anything. There's going to be armies to deal with bounces and stuff. But, yeah, I can probably take Kiel. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Notably, as much as I love this move from the Austrian perspective, I think Russia really needed to go +2 here, right? Just take Budapest, because this situation is really bad. And also, it makes you so much less likely to stab England if you don't have strong support from the other side, right?
Yes.
Because
Yeah, if Russia was bigger, then absolutely, yeah. Sorry, you can keep going.
yeah, realistically, if Russia goes here and builds St. Petersburg North Coast, then they've committed to attacking England. You can see that. That kind of motivates you to get in on it too. Whereas if Russia is telling you, hey, I'm gonna help you attack England if you attack England here, and you look at this and you're like, how? Well, Russia goes, okay, you jump in on England, and while they're distracted, I'll take Norway or Denmark or something. But that means Russia is committing afterwards, because that's all Russia can really do here. If Russia goes in properly on England immediately, then they don't get anything, right? England just walks into their centres behind them, so they're really reliant on you taking the pressure off and then them attacking, which you have no guarantee that they're going to do, even after you attack. So
yeah, and if the center counts aren't displaying right now, but England is right now second place with I think 6 centers.
Yes.
And I'm in first place with 8.
Yeah.
And so in general, or maybe Russia's also on 6. Yeah, I think Russia's also on 6. But in general, if the first place player stabs the second place player from an alliance, the first place player usually gets ganged up on.
Yes.
And I'm in Munich right now, which means everyone has access to mess with me a little bit, right? And so that's not great. Italy can obviously mess with me a lot. And so I think if I stab in the spring in this particular position, it goes poorly. If Russia was also on 8, right, because they stabbed for Vienna and Budapest, and then they're like, yo, let's make this happen, then shit. Yeah. Again, nobody really was ever pitching me to attack Katie at, like, until this point in the game, still no one's really actually come with me with a pitch. And the way that I look at this, looking at the South, if I just go into Western Med and North Africa, I'm going to get Tunis next year. Not this year, because Naples is going to go to Trinity to cover it, but Brest goes to Mid-Atlantic Ocean, then Spain South Coast, then Lyon, then it can tap Tyrrhenian Sea, and then I'm in Tunis.
Yep.
And so, yeah, it's a big commitment. It takes my fleets, but also it's guaranteed to get Tunis. And similarly, I see that England can make a big commitment to go for St. Pete and can get it. By convoying to Norway and going to Barents, St. Pete is practically guaranteed. And here, it's important that I see England take St. Pete with an army, not a fleet. I want them to build no more fleets throughout the game, only armies. I want them to start flooding through Scandinavia and then hit Russia via land. And that's how, we're going to get to 20 centers.
Yeah.
We're already going to be at 20 centers easily. We're going to get to a ton of centers because we're just going to flood and we're going to just cross the stalemate line because of all the chaos in the South. If Russia was big, I don't think this would be a viable option. And it feels kind of bad to go for that stab. I recognize that Russia's been trying to work with Turkey for the entire game, and it just hasn't quite worked out. The beauty of the stab that you just illustrated with Vienna staying and supporting into Budapest is it doesn't need any coordination from Turkey at all. You can just make those moves.
I can absolutely see why they wouldn't want to, because then Austria and Turkey gang up on them and they're kind of on their own. They have Italian support, but the Italians are not in a great position to support and will be a bit annoyed that they didn't, put them back in Trieste instead of taking 2 themselves, right?
Maybe. Well, I'm attacking your enemy. We're friends. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, I think
if they look back on it, that is a potential missed opportunity for Russia. I agree. But I also have a missed opportunity. Actually, let's look at let's see the spring moves.
All right, spring 1903. Okay, so Katie is going for the stab on Russia right now, going up convoy into Norway, moving into Barents Sea. Nothing else moving this way, and actually they put the Russian fleet into Berlin.
I think this is a nice hedge. If I had stabbed Katie here, then I don't think Katie takes St. Pete. I think she sits around, and then she's just going to say to Russia, hey, that's fine. Please sell me in Kiel. I won't hit you anywhere else. And I think this is why Russia wasn't pitching me on it, because I think Katie had convinced Russia that he needed to prop her up. But this phase, after seeing the convoy up into Norway, and then the move into Barents, Russia does come to me and say, hey, I'll support you into Kiel.
Yeah, I can see why.
Yeah. And that's a reasonable pitch. That said, to me, Katie was saying, yeah, we're going to support Germany back into Berlin. right, we're gonna just we'll keep Russia down and we'll do all ourselves, and it makes perfect sense.
Yep.
And so here it's like I can still take Kiel, right? I can take Kiel and not let Germany take Berlin. I can, or maybe not. I think I can just take Kiel if I do it myself. Yeah, but if I double support the Kiel, then they don't get into Berlin. Then Germany's off the board, and then I take Kiel. And here's I think where I have a real stab opportunity. Um, it feels a little worse than it did previously because I'm not getting into English Channel and North Atlantic Ocean, but England has made the first move, and if England's going to convoy out from Yorkshire, right? That's just going to happen. They're going to get St. Pete, but if they lose Kiel, they're not necessarily building. If they choose to pop their fleet in Kiel to build, that's similarly acceptable, and I have an ally in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back on this game, if I'm trying to win, I think this fall is when I'm supposed to stab England.
Right. I wouldn't be so sure that England is taking the second army out, because there's been a few points in this game where I've thought, oh, England is going to take the army out now, and then they didn't. They left it there because you still have
Yeah, but
fleets
England
here.
thinks they're building, right?
Yeah,
So they can
that's
build
true.
an army anyways.
Yeah, but, so yes, after England has made the first move, you definitely have the option to swing back if you really want
Yeah.
to.
And again, the timing of it's just a little annoying, right? Because I moved into I didn't get bounced anywhere because I couldn't get bounced anywhere because all these moves were guaranteed. And yeah, I don't know. This was I think if I try to go for like the highest percentage top, I think I'm supposed to stab Katie, but I didn't because I thought we can just steamroll.
Yeah. Um,
Because look, right?
yeah, I mean, it is.
If EF sticks together, right? Like who's gonna stop us?
It is pretty solid, and also like the East is just not getting resolved in any way at all. We didn't,
Not even a little bit.
we haven't talked about this. So self bounce here is smart on the Austrian part. I think it hedges against Germany or Russia going in there, but it also keeps you defended against the Russian unit from this side, right? And it keeps you adjacent to Munich if there's suddenly a board-wide coalition going, oh, we need to stop France because they just stabbed England, right? And then
Yeah.
you can pitch to be the one to get supported into Munich in that case, I think.
Yes, as Austria, yeah.
Yeah, what I'm a bit less sure about here is Trieste support hold Tyrolia. I guess you probably didn't tell them you were tapping Piedmont or something like that. But I would have preferred to see an attack into Venice here with the two, because these two are clearly like going all in on the alliance with one another right now.
Yeah.
They may as well be a bit aggressive about it, right, and go for the extra dots from Italy.
Yeah. This was a mistake from my part. I definitely should have offered that. I should have told them I was tapping Piedmont to tell them they could take Venice. I think they would have accepted it.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I was spending like we don't have that much time. These phases now are 12 minutes a phase,
Mm-hmm.
and um, I spent probably more time than I should have thinking about stabbing in the spring, like during these moves, instead of talking to them about this, thinking about the stab on England. Just moving to English and North Atlantic Ocean. Because I know they're convoying one army out, right? You don't have two armies on the mainland.
Yeah.
Or it would have been Irish Sea English Channel, and I would have gone for a convoy to Wales with support, which would have worked. I would have taken Kiel and like who knows, but it would have been a spring stab, and like spring stabs suck. So
Yeah. I can see why you didn't.
yeah, so I chose not to do it here, and then again in the fall there was a similar thing. But yeah, I think looking back on it, I definitely should have told Russia, "Hey, I'm tapping Piedmont. Please work with Austria to take Venice."
Yep.
Yeah, I just don't want Italy to die quickly. Um, yeah, so
I
eh.
and I think it directly benefits you if Russia gets an extra dot here, right? To
Oh
send
yeah,
anything.
if I'd actually been smarter about this and coordinated with the two of them, right, I can like make this. I can try to convert this into like a weird ass juggernaut,
Mm-hmm.
right? Austria, France, uh,
Yep.
versus or Austria, France, Russia. Instead of normally the juggernaut is Russia, Turkey, France. But
Although,
whatever.
damn, like these guys are never cracking Turkey. This is the ultimate defense.
This is the what you gonna do?
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
Shall
I mean,
we?
this is Turkey being Turkey, right? If Italy doesn't attack Turkey, Turkey just survives
Yep.
forever.
You need multiple fleets in the south, or you need Black Sea control, and Turkey has secured this to a point that neither of those are possible, so... Yeah, good job, Turkey. Shall we go through to the fall?
Let's do it.
Alright. Fall 1904. Now comes the stab on Austria, although, is it even a stab? They might have agreed to swap this, although I know Austria never agrees to do this, right?
Yeah, I suspect it's like... It seems to me like they are trying to vacate Sev for a fleet build, but it looks like they're trying to pop Tyrolia as well. Oh, they're losing St. Pete. You know, maybe this is still agreed, because you want Russia to build St. Pete. Like, you want Russia to be able to build a fleet in Sev despite losing St. Petersburg, and so you need them to lose a dot and take Budapest, right? So they have to gain, like, kind of 2 net. Yeah, I don't know. This might have been agreed. I actually don't know if this was or not. I haven't talked to him. You can ask Andrew. He's on the Discord. So you can ask him if this was agreed or not. But
alright. Then I love this. I assume misordered Tyrrhenian Sea to Ionian Sea. Ionian Sea support Tyrrhenian Sea to Ionian Sea. This clearly means Tunis, right?
Taken Tunis. Whoops.
Yep. You outplayed yourself here.
I outplayed myself.
Yep. By assuming that Italy was going to move with the obvious ones and doing the thing that counters that, right?
Ish. These aren't clean tactics, by the way. Don't do this.
Yeah, it's kind of better to feed... Well, I mean, is it better? It's more reliable to feed Mid-Atlantic Ocean through Spain, South Coast, and out into Gulf of Leon while you're using these to attack Tunis. Because this can all get bounced back if Tyrrhenian Sea goes to Gulf of Leon here, which is a really bold play for Italy to make, and I think most of the time Italy doesn't do that. But if they do, your whole line gets a bit screwed over. Although, I don't know that you would be that upset still being in Mid-Atlantic Ocean. It gives you an excuse to still be there, right?
Yeah, given that I'm actually trying to make progress against Italy at this point, it would make me sad.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, and you reject the Russian support into Kiel here.
I do.
Yep.
I do. Obviously, if I'm out in England, it doesn't make sense to do, so that's fine.
And just push in through the centre. Go to Cilicia. You're quite a wide France now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Anything else you want to talk about here?
This is fall. Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling great, right? Like, my ally got a build. We're doing solidly. There's more potential for growth there, right? Sweden's gonna go, and then Berlin's gonna go, and I'm set up to take Tunis, so we're stable. Like, everything's cool. We're all growing. There's no resistance on the rest of the board, right? Like, yeah. Yep. Let's go on. Yeah, let's go winter.
All right, winter. This is gonna be a power rankings turn. No French builds.
I don't have a build.
Oh, you didn't pick anything up. You just went through into Cilicia.
I was doing a lot of +2, +0, +2, +0. Which is not how you want to grow. Ideally, you want it to be more smooth, but hey, I'd rather go +2, +0 than not grow. So.
Yeah, Fleets of Astable here is wild. I don't know what.
Hell yeah.
Like, this is a 4-fleet, 2-army ratio with
what? Oh, man. That's a hostile army, St. Petersburg, might be.
And a hostile army, Cilicia. Like,
not necessarily. I don't know that I'm going to go for Warsaw.
Okay.
But my man is trying to break Turkey. Good luck.
Yeah. But, like, this army here is completely isolated, presumably gets kicked out again, unless that was agreed. Like, actually, looking at it with the fleet coming off in the south, no, there's no way that was, like, they would have taken something up here off, surely.
Yeah. Surely.
But you're gonna get knocked out of here, and, like, these fleets are nothing for defense.
It gets you into the Black Sea, and kicking Turkey out of the Black Sea is defense.
Yes, but it's not defense against the bit that needs defending.
Who cares? Just Moscow, man.
Oh my god. But if you lose Moscow, where are you gonna build? That's the important build center.
Sevastopol.
Oh
And then you'll
god.
retake. Anyways, no, look, Fleet Sev here is a bit much, I think. But like, it's on theme, right? You were trying to work with Turkey for the past 3 hours, real time, and they keep like saying yes and kind of half working with you and kind of half not. And both you and Austria are so fed up with her that you're like, all right, fine, we'll actually kill you now. And as soon as you finally get in a position to actually kill the person who's been annoying you the entire game, you realize you're gonna die for doing it. So actually, you needed to keep working with the annoying player. This is how I survive while being annoying in games, by the way. Just make it not quite able for them to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I think that is a bit much.
All
We're doing
right.
power rankings.
Power
Nate,
rankings.
you should do these power rankings because I know how this game goes.
Right. I'm gonna scroll down a little here to show the center counts because these are generally quite important, right? I mean, you can see them on the board anyway. But my immediate response, obviously, top two are going to be France and England. Bottom is going to be Germany, because Germany is on one center. They're still surviving, which is honestly impressive, having made the pitch that, hey, keep me around, please. And it actually working is pretty damn impressive, but it looks like they're not going to get off one dot. That is my instinct going forward here. The question for top two, whether you or England is stronger here, I feel like it has to be you, right? You've got position on Tunis here, you've got the potential stab on Kiel. You don't have units in Mid-Atlantic Ocean, so you can't easily stab England, but I don't see a way that England can easily stab you either. At least not from this position. So I would keep these, basically first, second, and seventh are still the same as they were last time. Looking at the rest of the positions, god, that fleet in Sevastopol makes everything so weird, because usually in a position like this you would think that Turkey is going to be strongest, because these two are going to roll, right? And that means all of these players will be pinned on the line, and so Turkey can come in and eat whatever's behind. But Fleet Sevastopol means that's clearly not going to happen. So who's strongest in this position? Italy's definitely pinned. Like, it's probably still Turkey. I'm gonna say Turkey, then Austria, because I think they easily get Budapest back and then they can push into Romania. It doesn't look like you're immediately going to go for Austria. So I would put Turkey, then Austria, then probably...
It does suck that we can't see the updates as you're doing these.
Yes, sorry. I can update it to where I'm currently at.
Yeah.
Actually, I could change it so that you can see me messing around with these, but I get the position wrong so often that it's easier to just update it afterwards, right?
Yeah.
I think this is my final rankings. The like, Italy, Russia, they're both kind of pinned on the front line. Russia's position is more set up to make the most of something that, if the situation drastically changes, Russia is better positioned to push outwards, I think, because of their fleet control in various places, but they have no defense. So if things keep going the way they're going, they will just die.
Yeah, if I stab England, right, Russia can have play.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah,
Okay.
so that's gonna be the meme power rankings here. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, if we can remove the center counts again. If we then go through to, where do we want to go through to spring, or is there anything you want to talk about first?
Yeah. So in negotiations for this phase, I'm pretty sure Italy just says, "Hey, I won't defend against you.
Okay.
You're gonna get what you're gonna get." Was it this phase? Like, let's go to spring and let me see if the negotiation was this phase or the next one.
Okay.
No, yeah, it was this one. I think. No, maybe it was next one. Either way, one of these phases, maybe it was after this phase came in. Italy comes to me and says, look, I'm not going to defend against you, but I'm going to tell you that as long as I'm going to get builds against Austria, and so if you keep me neutral, I will keep on not defending against you. But if you take more than I get by staying neutral, then I will defend against you.
Mm-hmm.
And so you see the retreat to Ionian, right? Because he's not covering anything.
Yep.
And this is what he tells me. And I'm like, oh, sweet, you're not defending against me, thanks.
And you're just gonna walk in and take those dots anyway.
I'll take, yeah.
I mean, this is just an unstoppable moveset, right? If they support held Turanian, you just walk into Tunis, and if they don't, then you do what you did here and take Turanian. So,
yep, and then I'll take, and then if I'm in Turanian and Western Med in North Africa, Tunis is guaranteed, and it's probably gonna pop the fleet even, so it's very nice. So yeah, this is great.
You're in Galicia.
Yeah.
What are you doing in Galicia?
I don't know. I literally have no idea what I'm going to do in Galicia.
Okay. I assume it was trying to get 2 on Warsaw here, right?
Not really.
Wait,
It was just Galicia is the one that's the furthest behind the line that has the most chance to break everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I'm in Galicia, it makes it really, really hard for anyone in the east to stop me inevitably pushing in.
Yep.
It's a stalemate move, I think.
God.
A line breaker.
Why is this here? Did we have a move into Prussia? They got supported into Berlin and then mysteriously appeared in Prussia on the turn after.
And then held. Yeah, maybe it moved to Prussia. So again, I was doing all the sandboxing for this game also while playing in it. I'm trying to put the moves in live, and so I made a couple of smaller mistakes. There might have been a move from Berlin into Prussia that I didn't notice, and then I sandboxed it into put it in Prussia.
Possibly.
Something like that might have happened. I'm not really sure.
Alright. But whatever the case, the German unit ends up in Prussia after this turn. So you do have 3 allied units on Warsaw, which is kind of important, I guess, but I doubt you're going to be given that. I just don't see where the post-Tunis dots are coming from here.
Rome? Naples?
Yeah, if Italy is serious about not defending them, you can absolutely just walk into those.
I've seen how the negotiations are like at this table, and Italy is heated.
Oh, okay. Right.
So yeah, I think he's serious.
Alright. And, I mean, you still have your line against Kiel if you really want it.
Yeah, and I'm still safe, right? Holland is fine. I don't know. And again, if Italy disbands and gets out of the way, right, I'm going to get into Piedmont still. I'm eventually going to get into Bohemia and stuff. I don't know. And then the East, Austria turns on to Russia. Just right exactly when Katie wants it to happen. It's amazing. It's so cool.
I mean, I feel like it's very justified on Austria's part, given Russia just walks into Budapest.
Yeah, I mean, to put a fleet down, it was to try to crush Turkey, right? But yeah, Turkey did a good job surviving and staying alive.
Yeah, and Turkey has managed to pull Aegean back to Constantinople, so now, this is a good guess on what Russia was going to attempt to do. Sea. And then now they've got the units to support hold it, so Russia's fleet here is useless. They can't take Black Sea.
And Ankara probably goes to Armenia to even help break Sev. It's great.
Yep, and I think you're looking at this and going, excellent, that fleet is out of my way.
How convenient, man. Man, if I end up in Aegean, wouldn't that be sweet?
Oh, yeah. Alright. Yeah, so, anything else to talk about this phase?
I don't think so. I think we can just go to the fall, right? Just nice and smooth sailing. What an easy game to have where you make a solid alliance and you kill everyone.
Yeah, I think notably Russia did walk back into St. Petersburg here, but England has enough units on to retake it if they use Livonia as well, I think. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was just a thing. I think they assumed there was going to be Norway to St. Pete and they were trying to bounce that.
Yep.
So.
Oh, England totally goes Livonia to Moscow here and then supports themselves to St. Pete. And then if St. Pete is support held by Finland, you walk into Moscow instead, which is a better place to be.
Yeah, you're pretty happy with that.
Alright, let's go to fall. Yeah, oh, and Actually, she gets both. Wow.
Yep.
Although Russia does manage to force their way back into Sweden here. So.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know what the move to Livonia was about. That's if you're going for Sweden, you have to obviously cover Moscow.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Unfortunate tactically.
Yeah, and you get forced out of Galicia and retreat to Ukraine.
Yeah.
You're in the middle of nowhere now.
Nice stalemate line you got there. Yeah.
So, question, you do actually keep Italy even here. Is that because you were, like you said, oh, you're clearly getting these two, I'm going to take two? Or was that just because you went for as much as you could get, and Italy happened to get +2?
I went for as much as I could get, and then he happened to stay even, so I also stuck to my end of the deal. Ain't that convenient?
Did he see that as you sticking to the deal, or not?
He was pretty heated, but also I stuck to the letter of the law, and it's really tough to get pissed at someone when they did exactly what you asked for. Right, like, what's he supposed to say, right? It's like, he said, you got so lucky, and I'm like, yeah, but I did get lucky. Right? So it's just like, what are you supposed to say to that? Right? It's like, I guess I have to fight you now, but again, the more important part is look at the units that he has, and in what position is he able to fight me?
Yeah, there's none.
How exactly is he stopping me?
It's just infeasible for him to turn around at this point. He had to bounce you out of Rome here and then get a defensive line up.
Yeah, because he would have been building, right? So if he bounces me out of Rome and then he gets these two, or maybe he would have to take Trieste with the fleet.
That's not going to happen. Yeah, I think if you bounce out of Trieste as Italy here, you're giving up on getting any builds out of Austria. So then you're...
Yeah, but he's pissed at Austria, so boom, let's do it. And I'm like, all right, sure. Fine. Thanks. Right? Isn't it nice when you attack people and they just don't defend?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Just the best.
And now you actually have freed up Marseille, so you have no excuse for building Fleet Brest again. Except you got 2 builds and you go, oh, I need 2 fleets. Bam, bam.
Yeah, but I don't even think that's correct. I think I want more armies still, because I'm trying to flood through into, like, Bohemia, right?
Yeah. And also, you've got a useless army over here now.
Oh, it's not useless at all. That army is critical.
Really? For you? Like...
Oh, I mean, for the line, for breaking.
Yeah, but it helps England break their part of the line.
Fine.
It doesn't help you.
What's the line? We're going to break it, and they're going to collapse, they're going to disband, we're going to end this game 16-16.
Okay, so here's my balance of power coming in. You should not be helping your ally break their side of the line. You should just be breaking your side and go, sucks to be you if you can't break your bit.
But I've already broken my side of the line.
Yeah, which is great.
I want to stay allies.
You can stay allies by retreating this to Silesia and going, oh, I need to support myself into Bohemia on the next turn, rather than...
The Silesia retreat makes sense. I think the Silesia retreat could be correct. Right? Yeah. I think that is a good point. Silesia is probably better.
Notably, in face-to-face, you get, like, what, a minute to put your retreat in, so I don't anticipate you having enough time to think through that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so...
I could have better. I should have retreated to Silesia. Oh well.
Yeah, but generally speaking...
the fundamental point, the high-level alliance point, I stand by the idea that this game, if it stays stable, is going to go really well for me also.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not like I'm going to end this game... When am I going to stop taking centers, right? I'm going to get Naples. I'm going to get Venice. Right? Like, if I get a good turn of tactics, I can break into Bohemia now, especially if Italy wants to help me the way that Italy claims they were. And, like, the moves Italy made this turn certainly looks like it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I might just get everything. Right?
Yeah,
and so
I see it.
It was actually, maybe we do agree to build. No, it's the next. It's well, yeah. Sorry, we could go to spring and we can talk about stuff.
God.
But like, I'm thinking that I'm in great shape.
The thing I didn't notice here, Austria's supporting themselves out of Budapest, so they don't take that off Russia, right? Which means they're down to 2. They can't even keep on Bohemia.
Yeah, they didn't. They forgot about not owning Budapest. They're in
Yeesh.
face to face, right? The boards don't change colors,
Yep.
so my man just forgot.
Very easy
So
mistake to make. I've done that
yeah,
many times.
yeah. But yeah, Russia meanwhile goes down to like what, 2 instead of 7 Budapest. No, and Sweden 3. So
uh,
yeah, it's pretty brutal.
yeah,
But
and they have to take off this fleet, so they do they just keep 3 fleets on?
maybe
Please don't keep 3 fleets on, Andrew. All right, shall we go to winter?
let's do it.
Okay, thank God. Um, I think you definitely needed to keep an army on as Russia here. I mean,
I
it's at a
guess.
point where it doesn't matter all that much, right? You can do what you want to because you don't have
Yeah,
any real capacity to defend yourself. But keeping fleets of Astapon would have been an interesting decision.
yeah. And
Uh,
Russia is once again pitching me to attack England here.
mhm.
And like Russia's got Fleet Sweden, Fleet Baltic, and like for a phase, Russia's gonna be annoying.
It does feel
And
like this might be your last chance to attack England because,
Russia's
like,
about to explode, right?
after this turn, England has no fleet contests in the entire north, right? So,
Yeah,
but you build 2 armies, so you can't go against England.
can. It's just not gonna be great.
It would be so
I don't think
pathetic.
so.
Like, as France stabbing England
It's
using
the
Fleet
only way.
Tyrrhenian Sea. Like, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Do you know that Monty Python scene where what's his name, Lancelot is running towards the castle and just never getting there?
Yeah, and it keeps cutting. Yeah, that's a
It's
great
just
one.
like France stabbing England from Tyrrhenian Sea.
Yeah. So it would be basically a stab for me to get Kiel and ensure that Russia gets Berlin and to keep those Russian fleets around.
Yeah. I think that's a good point.
And if I assume that North Sea convoys, then I could probably get Russia into Denmark. I take Kiel, Livonia goes to Prussia, and then we could probably get Berlin as well.
hmm
Doesn't feel great.
Yeah,
I built
also,
2 armies because we had talked to Katie because at this point, right in like in '05, we've been like we're just saying, yeah, we don't need any more fleets in the area, right? No fleets for either of us. Let's call it. I went +2. Great. I guess 2 armies is fine. And again, it's not like my armies don't have good places to go. With Bohemia and Galicia getting popped, right, and Tyrolia being on side, probably moving into Vienna, I'm gonna get into Bohemia, Galicia, Tyrolia, and Venice this turn.
yeah, that would be pretty huge.
Yeah. Or I can't get quite into all of them because I can look at like Bohemia and Galicia maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not Tyrolia, maybe. Or maybe Venice. I don't know, we'll see, right?
hmm
But Italy claims to be throwing to me, and they can't defend Naples, so yeah, maybe they'll just let me in Venice. That'd be sweet.
The way you're going maybe makes me think they don't actually do this.
Yeah, we can see the face. We can see spring.
Alright. I do like the English putting down 2 armies and going, you are not getting here if you go this way, but also it's nothing offensive against you, right? England doesn't
Yeah,
need any more fleets if they.
we're still stable.
Yeah, alright, so Spring '06. I mean, Italy's kind of letting you into stuff, but also
They
not.
self-bounced in Venice. They did not.
Yeah, but they're also not pulling back full force against you. They didn't support anything into Venice.
Yeah, but they didn't. Nothing could be supported into Venice, right?
Mhm.
And they didn't. This was them breaking a deal, right? They said they were going to let me take everything. They didn't. How rude of them.
Mhm. Something I've got to ask here: why is St. Petersburg support holding Moscow? Like, does England think that Russia is going to be supported into Moscow by one of your Germany?
Maybe Germany might think that Warsaw is their best place to live, and if they can prop Russia up, they have a good chance.
Yeah, I guess more importantly, they can't actually move St. Petersburg out because this army is threatening here, so there's nowhere else for them to go. So
Yeah,
they may as
probably.
well throw supports. Yeah, convoying across, getting ready to kill Sweden. And you actually managed to get out of like Munich for the first time in a while.
Yeah,
Yep. And would have had 3 on Vienna if Italy hadn't had actually let you into there.
I would have had 3 on Vienna, yeah.
Man, you're about to face serious Turkish opposition as well, it looks like.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to give your thoughts on this?
I'm feeling fine. Right about here. Like, nerves are getting to me, right? It's like, I'm doing very well. I'm in Ionian and Naples and Tyrrhenian Sea as France. I've got armies in Galicia and Bohemia. Italy's not fully fighting me, but is a little bit fighting me. You say I'm going to face Turkish opposition. Turkey's first going to clear up the Italian and Greece. I don't think they're going to go for Ionian just yet, probably.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's good. And, like, if Italy doesn't, like, if Austria and Italy don't figure their shit out, I can just take Vienna. So that'd be great. Yeah.
All right.
What a position.
Yeah. Generally, pretty
Nice color gonna fall.
I mean, if you were in an ideal world, you would have moved Piedmont to Tuscany and Marseille to Piedmont. That's the only criticism I have here.
We're not living in an ideal world.
Let's go
in
to
land of the present. When you're up against diplomacy players that are better than you.
Oh, I see. This is why the world is not ideal, I assume. Wait, no, this almost looks agreed, because you take Holland off. It was not.
Because I'm not building. I need to build Fleet Brest.
I didn't... Oh, because you only pick up Naples and you don't get anything else.
Yeah, I didn't even support myself into Vienna, actually.
You support yourself.
Oh my god, I missed that tactic. Yeah, because I don't know if Budapest... Let me check the orders. Was Budapest even supporting?
Budapest supported Vienna, yeah, it was, so you wouldn't have got
that. Yeah, so it wouldn't have worked. Alright, great. Well, and I did solve the tactics then. Yeah, I recognized at the time that Italy was clearly fucking with me, and that's fine.
Yep.
And then and then they try to support Turkey into Ionian, but I double support that. And then I get into Tyrolia, but all this happens while England stabs me.
Yeah, it's a really weird... It's a weird stab too, right? Because it's really just moving one fleet, one spot, and then...
And taking Holland, right?
Yeah.
And the timing, again, it doesn't feel right, because Russia's still alive in Sweden and Baltic, right? Their units are still there. And then if the tactics were better, right? If Russia had attacked from Baltic Sea instead of from Prussia, right? Then this goes horribly wrong. But it didn't. That's fine. I didn't tap Kiel. I saw a potential, but I didn't care, because I wanted to get into Tyrolia.
Yep.
And so, yikes.
Absolutely, that is very yikes, because also England is now going to get 2 belts, right? Holland and Sevastopol translate to Fleet Liverpool, Fleet London, and then bam, 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 there's nothing you can do about that, apart from build Fleet Brest here, bounce English Channel out. But then how are you going to run back to defend Mid-Atlantic Ocean in time? That's, yeesh. Painful.
Yikes. Power rankings. Starting winter.
Oh, yes. Should I go through power rankings then for the winter?
Yeah.
Alright. Well, first we have to say...
There is a fleet in Brest. That's a sandbox issue.
Oh, okay. That is good to know. Man, this was the other thing I wanted to say about the last turn that I forgot to. Italy disbanding Tyrolia, was that a real thing? Because...
Yes.
They have 4 units and 4 centres here, and nowhere to build, so taking that off is insane. Surely they should go to
No, it wasn't. That wasn't the thing. That's in Trieste, sorry.
Okay, right, good. So I assume that will get put back after this.
Yeah, I wasn't, like, I have made some mistakes on this one, so I'm obviously thinking not, like, the sandbox is not my priority.
Yes, I can...
Right, I'm getting stabbed. I'm in tactic analysis time.
Oh, man, and the Russian disbands as well. They take off both the fleets, so they can't even help you against England here. Not that they would
Prussia
be able to help very much. But
yeah.
Yeah. There's no non-English fleets in the north. I think I might have an idea of who's on top of the power rankings here.
Yeah, really.
Alright, hang on. I'm going to take it out of studio mode and just do this live.
Yeah.
So, put England on the
You
top.
still have me as second?
No.
Wow.
No. I'm moving one person at a time. You're going to slowly drop down this list. Wait, no.
Uh-huh.
I think you're still in a reasonable spot. Like, what do you lose by the end of the game here? You lose Belgium, you lose Brest. I guess if England cares to push a lot, I don't even think you lose Portugal and Spain. I think you get back in time for that, especially if you've got Fleet Brest here, right?
Yeah, and there's Fleet Brest, there's an army in Trieste.
So you could potentially lose Munich, but I don't see it. I think you've got enough strength here to hold it. I think pulling back, you managed to keep Paris. So really the threat is Turkey coming out here. Question is, will Turkey have more centers than you by the end of the game? Here's the Turkey has 5.
Untimed end.
Yeah, untimed is an interesting one. I think... I mean, Italy can't really push back against you. They can help Turkey push back if they really want to. I guess I probably would offer to help Turkey push against you, because the alternative is that they take Greece. Okay, given an untimed game, the fact that Turkey has, like, 0 pressure on them, I'll put Turkey above you, but that's like a very... I'm not sure about that. Okay, now you see why I use studio mode most of the time.
That's fine. The live update is really nice. It's good to see where people are as we're talking about it.
Righto. And then going down the list, I think I can officially swap the places of Russia and Germany at this point, because Germany is adjacent to someone who wants to keep them alive, whereas Russia is adjacent to someone who would like to take their dot.
Yeah.
The other players, I mean, on supply center count, Austria is below Italy. Austria's in an interesting spot. They could potentially push back out here, but I think Turkey is going to be hungry for those dots, and Italy is going to be happy to donate them those dots. If you just decide, hey, my best chance of staying at a decent center count is to kill Italy here, you can. And actually, I think that might be the right decision. Because you just tap Trieste here, you take Venice, and you try and take Vienna at the same time. You go, okay, I've still got the units adjacent to Munich if I need them, which I will, but yeah, and then send fleets home to defend this area. Go, okay, I'm probably losing these 3 by the end of the game, but I'm going to make up for it by taking, like, this bunch. In which case, Italy would probably drop below Austria on the power rankings, but I'm going to leave them as is. I'm going to leave them like this.
Sure.
Okay, so that's my power rankings for 06.
Yeah. So, before we see the spring moves, I want to talk about some of the negotiations, because there was one really important line that I heard from the Italian player.
Mm-hmm.
He said he wanted to finish third.
Third? Above Turkey or above you?
How is he finishing above Turkey?
That's a really good question. And one I have no idea about. You said you heard this from the Italian player. Was he saying this direct to your face?
He told me he wanted to finish this game in third and he'd be content.
Okay, so the only way that's happening is if you get your life ruined, right?
Yeah. You're friends. What do you do?
I just kill Italy.
You say, I just can kill you. I am going to lose 1 or 2 centers at most to England. I can take 2 centers from you. Maybe I can even appease Turkey and I can offer her Greece and then whatever. Maybe I can offer Austria Vienna. Mm-hmm. Let's kill Turkey this year. Or, excuse me, kill Italy this year. And then we can actually go and, as a board, go and stop England. The most important thing in my mind is trying to get Turkey to get armies into Armenia and push them up into Sev and then into Moscow.
Yep.
That's where I think Turkey needs to focus on there. I'm going to try to focus on the West. The fun thing is that tactically, because I have a fleet in Brest, I can pull back Fleet Tyrrhenian Sea, which isn't necessary for eliminating Italy. But I don't need my other fleets really to defend. Because the analysis that I did as I was in the oh god, can we actually afford to kill Italy here, is that I'm never losing Portugal or Spain.
Yep. I'd agree.
So, yeah.
Now, the issue with that is if you only pull Turanian Sea back to Western Med here and you go Brest, bounce English Channel out first,
Yeah.
then you can't guarantee pulling Brest out into Mid-Atlantic, which means you can't get it to here. So I guess you have to just go to Mid-Atlantic Ocean in the spring.
Plus, there's a fleet in North Sea, and that's going to support London to English Channel.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess it's not needed to take Belgium in any way.
Yeah, they have Norway that already wants to take Sweden. I think if they didn't have this extra support to do, they would want to go for a convoy into something.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe they go, I don't know. Anyways, I was pretty confident they were going to support the English Channel, so I just went Mid-Atlantic Ocean straight away. I'll have retreats and be okay. And I can get into Western Med, and then Galicia's pulling back, and then Munich is pulling back, Bohemia's pulling back, everything's pulling back. This beautiful, finally we're cracking the thing.
Wait, sorry, you're saying Galicia is pulling back? I thought you said you were killing Italy.
Yeah, but I need Galicia back to fight on the Berlin front. Because the only pressure I can apply is the Berlin-Kiel area. And you notice that I'm not killing Italy myself. I am trying to get Austria and or Turkey on side. And if I'd say I'm going to get all of the Italian centers, they wouldn't care.
Okay, so here's where I think my opinion on what you should do would flip from what you're doing, which is I was seriously considering, killing Italy needs to be your option to end at a decent point, at a decent point on the table. I think you need to be the one to make the gains, so you need to pitch to Turkey that you need to kill Austria and Italy at the same time. How possible is that? Maybe that's not possible. But also, if you can convince Austria to try to take Vienna, you can just use that as an opportunity to take Vienna yourself, right? Because it's not going to be support held. So then Tyrolia cuts Trieste, you take Venice and Vienna simultaneously, and then you have army around
I think
Trieste.
That's too committed. I think with this, it's too likely then that you get run over in Picardy and Burgundy. And I think we lose Paris and Gascony as well. And once you've lost Gascony, I think things go poorly.
Maybe that's true.
I don't think I can afford to use Galicia and Bohemia to attack. I think I can maybe afford Tyrolia, because I can only get one thing back from Munich anyways. So I think I can afford to use one of Munich or one of Tyrolia or Bohemia, and I'm going to choose Tyrolia. Mm-hmm. So I think I can do that. But I don't think I can afford to also use Galicia and Bohemia.
Fair enough.
So I thought about it and declined that, and then I'm like, yeah, I can get Turkey on side, and then I am going to finish third in this game. I recognize that, at best.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can get Italy dead, then I'm going to finish third, and it'll be a pretty big third, probably. But who knows how long Turkey and England try to squeeze this out, because if they squeeze forever and just push forever, they can have a 17-17.
Right? I don't know about that, Chief.
It could be a remarkably stable 17-17, with Turkey and England, because they're so bad at actually winning. Turkey needs to first go and push England back. They need to first get Warsaw and Moscow. But once they have those, then England can hold St. Pete, Munich, all the way down to Spain, and Turkey holds everything else.
Yeah, but if you see that happening as France, you go, okay, England, just win the game, because Turkey is screwing me over at this point, right?
Yeah, maybe. And that's definitely a concern that Turkey can have. But I rarely do that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Especially because neither of these players have been assholes, right? Katie stabbed me, but come on. Stabs happen.
Yeah.
Right, so they were both being fine and friendly, and I got too greedy. I could have stabbed Katie a couple times, and she had the smallest hint of a stab and stabbed me. Right?
Yeah.
She had to, that was such a risky stab. But it gets her this position, and this is a good position to be in. And everything worked, and it was so clean. Mm-hmm. Hell yeah.
I do just want to circle back to you saying neither of them have been assholes, right? As a reason why you wouldn't throw to them. I think that's true as of right now. I think if what you said might happen happens, and they push for a 17-17, pushing for a 17-17 qualifies you for being an asshole, just in general.
I know.
Even if it's your best possible result from the game, right? Every other player has to just play there for the next 4 hours so that you can get a few extra points and make sure they get 0. That's just, like, at that point, I would absolutely throw if someone tried to do that to me. Yeah, that's...
I probably, like, I respect the hustle. If you're gonna grind, right? If that's the mindset you got, great. Go for it. But let's look at the moves and let's look at the tactics.
Alright, Spring 07. You do get Venice. Okay. You could have taken Vienna.
I could have.
Even though Budapest support held it.
I could have.
And I know Turkey takes your deal, kind of? They take Greece, but they also just walk past the Austrian? Oh, I guess they... And they don't, like, go for Sevastopol or anything.
They don't do anything with Sevastopol. Notably, this is a tough time. You don't want to do it while Armenia's open. You need to get into Armenia first.
Mm-hmm.
But that's fine.
But you need to keep something in Romania, because...
Presumably, yes, but I guess not.
Yeah, okay, this is really annoying. Italy getting into Ionian Sea. Why did you move up to Adriatic?
The pop Venice.
I don't think that was worth it.
I think Ionian holding is better, I agree.
Yeah, or Naples to Ionian, Ionian to Adriatic if you really want to be an Adriatic.
I would much rather have, or I don't know, because I'm also trying to take Trieste, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, yeah, it's annoying, but what? So he's gonna die anyways.
Well,
right?
the only thing that can protect Tunis is Western Med now, which means...
Who cares? Western Med's not doing anything.
I mean, if he does the same thing to you that you did to him earlier and baits your fleet in without bouncing it, then...
Yeah, but he's not smart enough to do that. That's why he's not gonna do that. That's just not his line.
Alright, fair enough. Right. So, how are you feeling about this spot now, then?
This is about what I expected, right? There's good coordination between Turkey and Austria, so Italy's going to die this year. I'm going to cover Tunis. We're going to take Trieste, Vienna. Okay, cool. They're fine with me taking Trieste, so that's golden. I'm going +2. I'm losing Belgium. Here, I screw up my tactics. I'm supposed to cover Brest here. We're from Mid-Atlantic Ocean. And it sucks, obviously, if I just walk back in and I can't build in Brest, but I want to go... It's important that I go +1 here, and if I'm in Brest, that's fine. I can still build an army in Paris, and then I'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm supposed to just cover Brest here from Mid-Atlantic Ocean, but I don't do that.
In the moment, like, from the minute that I've been looking at this board, I was also instinctually going, I need to go this way with the fleet, because if I go back to Brest, get trapped there, then the English get past me, and my fleet is useless for
and I'm like, I want to be able to just, like, if I'm in Mid-Atlantic Ocean, I'm just sitting around, right, I can retreat to Portugal and then, like, self-bounce in Spain forever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really hard for England to break in any reasonable time frame. Right, so that was my instinct, but I think that analysis is incorrect. Or even potentially put a fleet down in Marseille. No, but I'm covering Marseille. Because I popped Venice, right, now I can pull Piedmont west, and it can go to Marseille, and then it can get to Gascony. And, like, if I'm in Gascony and Burgundy, Paris is fine forever, and Iberia is fine, if not technically forever, practically forever. So, yeah, I'm feeling like things are solid, right? Munich is probably not going to get lost, like... Look, am I going to win this board? Obviously not. Man, is that depressing to go from the top of the world to consigned to third. But whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm feeling pretty stable about this whole position.
Alright. So...
There's
I'm
some
also,
guesswork,
like,
but...
looking at Berlin and thinking you can actually take that off them, right? Although maybe...
try.
I guess Germany taps Silesia here at the instruction of England because they...
Yeah.
Although then they're risking Germany getting eliminated if you just support Russia the other way, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, there are some options here. Interesting ones.
There's lots of, like, the tactics around Germany, right? There's a lot there because I can put 3 on Berlin. Ruhr can also tap Munich, right? And if they commit to holding Berlin, then I can slip into Kiel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Um,
Yeah,
all right. Should I go through to the fall?
let's see it.
All right, fall 1907. All right, so this is what you mentioned with England walking into Brest and that being painful
Yeah,
for you.
it's just the mistake, right? Like I mean, I don't know about just the mistake because yes, I'm in Mid-Atlantic Ocean. I can now retreat to Portugal, and if they let me go back to Brest, and if then she gets in the Mid-Atlantic Ocean, I do lose Portugal,
Mhm.
which is bad. Um, but if I guessed right, obviously, then I get to bounce out of Brest, and I'm in Portugal, and I just put a fleet down in Brest, and I'm feeling pretty good about life.
Yeah.
But yeah, then in the East, annoyingly, they didn't communicate well with me, and so I didn't know to support Turkey into Vienna.
Oh, I
And I
see.
think they just forgot that they could. Um, yeah, I think they forgot that Trieste could tap Budapest, and so they thought that Vienna was a guarantee,
Hmm.
but it wasn't. Um, so that was annoying. So now that Italian fleet being an Ionian is very annoying.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, it's like okay, sure.
Because then they take off. Presumably, they take off Vienna and Albania on the after this turn and are left with
Yeah,
that one fleet to annoy you.
yeah. And so despite me getting both Venice and Trieste, I'm not actually building
Hmm.
because we didn't correctly guess around Berlin, and I didn't cover Brest, and I lost Brest and Belgium. So ugh. But I am in Picardy because Belgium changed their mind about supporting Ruhr into Burgundy and then add Ruhr tap Munich, which I think is better. I don't actually know which one's better for us. The center's of center, so centers are big, but Burgundy is also a really important province to be in instead of Ruhr.
Honestly, as
So
England, I'd be happier being in Burgundy here than I am holding Berlin. Because if
yeah,
Berlin gets forced back to Kiel, that's whatever. You've still got Baltics as support hold Kiel. They can't.
Kiel's getting broken
You
too.
guys can't break it. Yeah.
It can't like with me in like Picardy and stuff. It can get broken, right? If you're like not in Ruhr and holding, and with me getting stuff in the west, it's not like a true stalemate the way that it is in like FVA, right?
Well, yeah, but they
But
also have Army Sweden that can move down to Denmark and
it's not
support
getting
hold
broken
other
anytime
ports.
soon. That's for
Yeah.
damn sure. Yeah. So I do agree that I think it'd be slightly better, but I mean it's fine.
Hmm.
Yeah, obviously like, I could have gone into Kiel, right? And if I gone into Kiel and moved into Munich, right, things look right. This is a much better tactical fight suddenly.
Yep.
I didn't make bad tactics, get punished, right? When things go poorly, they go poorly for me. So
Hmm.
yikes.
Yeah. So,
But things are
England.
still like okay, right? Yeah, England gives up Sevastopol to the fleet.
Yeah, which is really smart because then you're avoiding Turkey needing to send any armies north here.
Yep, and you're just
And
holding on to Moscow and Warsaw. It's so good.
yep.
And as Katie, right, you're already going +3. You can go +2 instead. That's fine.
Hmm.
So smart. She's just so good.
Yeah, I do wonder whether she's getting in position to kill Germany here now. Although that would be
Yeah.
brutal after keeping him alive for so long.
Yeah, but thoughts are thoughts, man.
C dot take dot. I thought we were doing no C dot take dot this round. You're
This is Katie we're
okay.
talking
This is
about, not
Katie.
me.
Yeah, sorry. We are
She's got
ruining
all the odds.
this video is to ruin Katie's reputation and build yours up.
I don't think this is ruining Katie's reputation. She that she's an incredible player who played a fantastic game and
Yes,
then stabbed me and then had a big edge.
but she stabbed you, and everyone. You're the protagonist of this tale, so that makes her the
Am I?
antagonist, right?
I don't think I'm the protagonist here. Anyways,
Uh,
yeah.
all right.
It's an exciting phase, lots of tactics. We can go on to the winter of '07.
Alright, winter 1907. Yeah, Italian armies come off, so they're keeping the fleet on. Army.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What do you need fleets for?
I'm wondering what Army Liverpool is going to do. I guess get convoyed into Gascony with support?
Gascony.
But you bounce that surely and tap. Maybe you don't see it.
Yeah. Well, I should tap Brest.
Okay, I see.
should
We'll
do that.
see when we get there. We do have to say goodbye to Andrew, the Russian.
Well played.
Well played.
I'm sorry I didn't accept your offer to stab Katie when you gave it.
But yeah, it was unfortunate that Ezio did not do that.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate that Turkey built Fleet Smyrna.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's be an army. Anyways.
Okay. Yeah, I think as Turkey here, even if I'm working with England, I would build army so that I could go out this front. But realistically, I don't know that I'd trust England. Full stop here.
Yeah.
And two fleets should be enough to break through this line when Italy is there being annoying and France has one of the fleets parked in Trieste and the other one defending Iberia. So
and I've been promising everything to Turkey. Right? I have this one. I'm like, yep, we'll help you take everything. Ain't no worries.
Yeah. But Turkey seems to be pretty heavily in with the Austria alliance at the moment, because Austria is also offering everything to Turkey, right? They've been pushing forward, and Greece was going in behind them. Or attempting to. So
yeah, Austria's trying to survive.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anything else you want to talk about here?
Yeah, let's do some tactics.
Okay.
No, I mean, like, let's go see the tactics.
Okay. It is going to be a convoy to Gascony, right? It's not a convoy to Gascony.
It's not a convoy to Gascony. It was trying to get a fleet into Gascony, and she tried to convoy London into Picardy via North Sea.
I'm sorry, Katie, that this has to be shown.
Oof! Oh, man!
For reference here for viewers who may not be able to see that border, North Sea does not border Picardy, so this is not a valid convoy. You would need a fleet in English Channel for this.
Oh, thank God.
Which is why this doesn't get tapped, and Munich actually makes it into Burgundy here, and Tyrolia makes
doesn't get tapped or forced to retreat, right? So now I'm just in Burgundy, and then instead of going for the convoy via Irish Sea and Mid-Atlantic Ocean, and then supporting that with Brest supports Irish Sea in the Mid-Atlantic Ocean, and then, this turn...
You would have got so destroyed if the tactics were right here.
I would have been annihilating, probably.
Yeah. I mean, this is still scary, but...
Yeah!
It's not that scary.
It's still scary, but it's not that bad. Like, Warsaw's gonna die, but what's she gonna get, right? Is she gonna get Munich, maybe, eventually, at some point? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Question mark. We'll be fine.
I assume this is an agreed trade?
Yeah. I mean, trade?
Okay,
right?
Yeah, trade as in just giving up that unit.
Yeah. But like again, we've established that Italy needed to die. I have successfully killed Italy, and that's fine.
Have you?
That fleet's not doing anything anytime soon.
They're still there.
I've agreed to support Turkey into Tunis.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
So, yep, they're dead. No worries about the line, because here, right, if Italy stays alive for a while and like helps England break into Western Med, things get ugly quickly.
Yeah.
But no, I mean the tactics here, right? Just like the board that we had made Picardy look like it touched the North Sea. Like it didn't actually, but the visuals suck. I want to say that it's 1:30 in the morning at this point.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we're at the stage of making excuses for bad convoys.
We're at the stage of making excuses for bad convoys and not making the proper convoy to Gascony, and for me not seeing the danger of the army convoy to Gascony. Honestly, I didn't even think that they were going to go for Gascony. I just moved to Gascony because, like, that's a good place to be.
That is.
Why don't I be
you want
there?
to get Venice through as well, right? So you need to clear Marseille.
Yeah, I'm just like, that's a good place for me to be. Let's be friends, right? I should be there. And then I moved there. And then I want to be in Burgundy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want her to be in Burgundy. And then, okay. Yeah, that was the extent of my tactical analysis.
Yep.
Big brain SDO play, yep.
Okay, if we're calling Casey out for failing this convoy, we also need to call you out for doing Cilicia Hold. What is this?
Yeah. What do you want it to do, man?
I mean, if it walked into Berlin here, you would have been in a nice spot.
I don't keep Berlin, right?
Well, yeah, but in collaboration with Munich, it can do some stuff, right? But no, realistically,
It should
the
have
only thing
supported
is
Tiroli
take
into
this.
Munich, okay? That's what it realistically should have done, but I thought that Munich was bouncing anyways, okay?
Fair
Because
enough.
I look at this and I think that Munich is moving to Burgundy, but they're gonna like force Picardy. My expectation was they're gonna like Brest support Belgium into Picardy, and then North Sea convoy London to Belgium, and then
Read some
Mid Atlantic
Burgundy,
Ocean does something. Maybe it goes to North Africa. Does something, I don't know. But like that's what I was expecting to see. But then I'm in Gascony and everything's fine. The North Africa move would have been annoying to help keep Italy alive in Tunis. That's why I was assuming it was going to happen, because it was the worst case. Then I have this guess over Spain. Anyways, it was going to be annoying, but it didn't happen. Marseille bounced everything, so Marseille traded for 3 units. She held with 3 units because North Sea doesn't border Picardy. Sad Katie, big rip. And then I don't know. This turn was a tactical savior, but even still, my strategic position is so shitty that it doesn't matter.
Yep. And also, Turkey can just walk in on Naples here if you're offering them support.
Well, I'm offering her Tunis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess if she does walk into Naples, you probably just turn around, stop her, and then England wins by a lot. So, yeah. All right. Anything else, or should we go ahead to the fall?
Let's go to fall.
Okay, fall 1908. There goes Tunis. The Turk gets 1, 2, 3 here. Nice.
Yep, up to 10.
Brutal, absolutely brutal, taking Warsaw off the board in 8 years in.
I forgot that I covered Venice here.
Sorry, I didn't quite hear that. What did you say?
I forgot that I covered Venice here.
Oh.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. You managed to blow up the English unit here.
Yeah.
There's, a lot of interesting orders here. But this is just what caught my eye. Okay, you can't say that Katie is the protagonist after doing this. This is,
What do you mean? It's a tournament. She needs to qualify for the top. This score matters. Because, right, for the entire tournament, it's the sum of your 3 games. The 2 qualifiers plus the final round. So, this is important.
Yeah, but
scores are pretty low.
You can't keep someone alive for 6 years or whatever on one dot going, oh, I'll let you survive to the end, and then kill them. All you've done is force them to play diplomacy on one dot when they can't do anything for however many hours, and then taken their score away from them.
You have the units next to the center, and it didn't have support.
Yes, but that's been the case through the rest of the game. She could have given this guy 3 hours back.
I'm not sure that she had an opportunity to take Warsaw until now.
Well, she certainly had the opportunity to take Berlin earlier, right?
Yeah. She could have killed it, but then he was useful to her. Because he had an army that could mess with Russia.
Okay, fair. I guess I just see this differently. God.
He was alive while he was valuable, and now he is more valuable as... It's like 16 points, or 15. I think it's 10 points for the dot, and then 5 points for the extra dot between her and second place.
Okay, Ezio, we're working on your PR, on your general public image here. You need to sympathize with the underdog. That's what you do. That's why people view me as the good guy here.
But, anyways. Sure.
Alright, anyway, is there anything else you particularly want to talk about here?
I just want to say that I am proud of risking Munich here. Risking Burgundy to go for Brew here.
Yeah,
I like it.
You get the double tap here, right? There's nothing that could have tapped Munich, so this is...
I'm not... Munich wasn't risked, but Burgundy, right? Belgium could have gone to Burgundy. And a lot of players, I think, would have been too scared, and they would have taken from Munich instead. But I think that's worse. I think you want to stay in Munich and take from Burgundy.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's a really good force disband. You're putting English units back in the English mainland. That's the best thing you can hope for right now, really.
Yeah. And so we can do a center count check. Actually, let's go to the next phase.
Okay.
And just see what's up.
Winter 08. So here's the center count. We've got Austria 2, England 14, France 8, Turkey 10.
And we don't need to do power rankings because we agree to draw in this position.
Oh, okay. I mean, the power rankings are basically, as they are on the board, we have to say goodbye to Francisco.
Except Italy's dead.
And Italy, yeah.
Italy and Germany are both dead. They are off the board.
So
yeah, Italy was pissed.
I can imagine, because you sacrificed. Well, no, I think it was correct to do what you were doing, though.
But I didn't go back to pull everything to the stalemate line to try to hold England back, and I instead played a risky game because Italy told me he was going to finish on third.
Yeah, but even before I heard that, right, I was analysing the situation, saying maybe going for Italy was your best bet because you have to finish on a decent number of centres. And you mentioned this being the scoring system as well. It's more centre-based than anything else. So I think this was correct here.
I agree. I think it was right. And I'm not sad about it, but it was fun.
Triple Turkish army is nice here as well. So this is where the game ends then. When we go through to Spring 09, no more orders. So where did this leave you in the tournament?
I did not make it into the top. I missed the cut.
Oof. So yeah, the way the tournament worked, the top 21 players went through to the final round, right? And then got to play for the end result. Do you know whereabouts you were?
Second. Going into the finals, the scores in this tournament were incredibly close, which is a cool thing about the scoring system. It felt weird to me, but all the numbers were really tight, and so I think they released the results at some point. But I did not think I was particularly close. So again, I had a 9 center second and an 8 center third, and there was someone who had a 9 center second and a 10 center first who didn't make it.
Right.
And so it's like and they were 40-ish points above me, and they didn't make it. So I don't think I was particularly close with my results. I think if I had if I had traded my score here with Katie's score here magically, and I had a 14 center first on with a 10 center second, I think that would have done it. But obviously I didn't. This is where we were.
Yep.
So I missed out. I was not in contention to win this tournament.
But from what I heard, Katie did make it to the finals, right?
Yes, yeah. I mean, she had this board, and then she had another top, I think. So she did quite well. And then on the final board, even she had another top, but it was I think a 9 center top. But because of how few centers she had in her tops and combined scores, she didn't end up winning the event. Sadly, I think she finished 5th, I believe.
Gotcha. And of course, to our viewers, if you want to watch what happened on that final, in those final boards, that final round, the Diplomacy Broadcast Network has great coverage of that. I will link to it in the description below. But yeah, this is where Ezio's World DipCon journey ends. But thankfully, you've seen now that Ezio is a great alliance player and will never stab you. He just gets stabbed, right?
I just get stabbed. Okay, so it looks like I finished 31st out of the qualifying rounds.
Okay.
So my qualifying score was 269, and then first place, then qualifying the last qualifier, who was I think in 21st, was 310. So I needed to score an extra 40 points.
So 4 more centers, basically.
Yeah, 41 points maybe. So yeah, I needed to have 4 more centers combined over the rounds. But again, there's 11 places between me and there.
Yeah.
Right. So I was not particularly close.
I did hear an awesome thing about this tournament that isn't usually the case in these tournaments, is that the scores were all concealed, right, during the course of the qualifiers. So you usually, where in tournaments you would have people looking at the scoreboard and going, okay, I need X centers to get through, I'll get to X centers and then be happy. Here you just had a lot of people playing it blind, which I think makes for much cooler gameplay, but that's just my own
Yes.
opinion on it.
Yeah, I think it did. I also appreciated that it forced me to talk to people to see how they were doing.
Hmm.
Because I needed to see, hey, how did your boards go? What results did you have? Like, what sort of games, right? How were other people doing to try to get a sense of how the game was going? And it forced me to interact with other people, which is good. I think that's what you want in diplomacy.
Yeah. Well, alright. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap this up?
I think this is good. Be my ally. I won't be able to stab you. You'll stab me. You'll win the game.
Yeah, perfect. Alright, so there you go. Always ally with Ezio. I will add the disclaimer that you should always ally with Ezio unless the alternative is allying with me because I am the best. I'm
That's
the best
another
ally.
fair one. We also could put the disclaimer, only ally with me if you're as good as Katie Gray. But I don't want that because I think that reduces the number of plausible allies to a very small number.
That's like 10 people, right?
Fewer, but anyways, yeah. Maybe about 10 people, sure. We're talking single digits here.
Right, and we can also say that it means that the top 10 players in the world or whatever do sometimes make mistakes, such as convoying to Picardy via North Sea.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, for what it's worth there, like, Ezio and I both started playing diplomacy. I say started, like, for a long time, we were playing diplomacy on a site called Web Diplomacy, and there's, like, a very old group of web dippers who have sort of slowly merged into doing face-to-face events now. Like Tanya Gill, Michalis Camaritas, Casey Gray is basically in that group. So we know these people from a very long time ago, right? And it's kind of been cool to see them all getting really good while I've not been.
I think you would do remarkably well if you came to one of these events, Meme.
I really don't think so. I went to UK DC and did kind of badly.
It takes practice, right? Like my first event, when I went to the diplomacy event in Vegas last year, I did terribly as well there, but it was good to shake the rust off, and then it helped me. And then at this event, I didn't perform particularly well. The final rounds, notably, I also did well in there, so my final placement was top 20%. Like I finished at the 20% mark, which given the quality of the players here, right? Like, I'm going to read out the people who were qualified in the top 21. And for those of you who don't know face-to-face, sorry, I'm just going to read out a bunch of names. But Adam Seagal, Jordan Connors, Noam Brown, Nicolas Zachary, Brandon Fogel, Jamal, Ben Kelman, Jan, Doug Moore, Katie Gray, Riaz, Andre, Andrew Zick, David Hood, Shane Armstrong, Peter Jurgen. These are the top 20 people, right?
Okay, yeah, there are some very strong names in there. I heard several world champions.
Several multiple-time world champions, I think, were up there, right? And so these are the people that you're playing with at this tournament. And so I am proud of finishing 20th, like top 20 percentile, even though I didn't actually qualify for the top. The final board went well, and I did well.
All right. Well, very well played, all things considered. I think it was a fun game to look through, and well played to the other players as well, especially to Katie Gray coming out on top of that.
Yeah, and also huge credit to Turkey. I really do appreciate that this was, like, she had not played much diplomacy before this, and yet Heimek still just did really well.
Yeah, I mean, this is
like an impressive game.
This is kind of how you do well as Turkey on a board with very good players, right? You sort of stay in a position where you're alive and not too pushed far back for a while. As long as you're there going into the end game, when people start pressuring your neighbors, you can start pushing out, and that's exactly what happened. Then you turn your speed up to 10, and that's what happened here, and push your way out of the corner again. So yeah, that works very well. Alright, so thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.